Chapter 721. Kaihong, you've grown so big. Sima Yue looked at Kaihong and waved at her. The little bird back then had already transformed into a human. Rainbow came in front of Sima Yue. Yue came down from the flower and stood beside her. Brother, he is my uncle. Please don't kill his contractor. Rainbow grabbed Sima Yue's hand and said, All right. Sima Yue nodded and said, Since our little Rainbow has spoken, what's wrong with sparing his life? Thank you, big brother. Kaihong smiled. Kaihong, what's the point of begging her? Now that I've become a contract beast, I'd rather die than live. Lu Fei looked at Kaihong, not at all happy that he had survived. Uncle, you were injured because of Rainbow. That's why this person took advantage of the situation to contract you. Are you trying to make Kaihong die of guilt? Tears fell from Caihong's eyes. Uncle, Kaihong only has you left. Are you going to abandon Kaihong too? Lu Fei's indifferent expression finally changed. If it wasn't for her, how could he still be alive after being contracted? Uncle, don't worry, I will find a way to remove the contract for you. Rainbow said firmly. Before that, don't even think about dying. Otherwise, I'll go with you and father. Lu Fei walked over and wiped away the tears on her face. Since I promised your father that I would take care of you, I won't go back on my words when you grow up. He did not believe that there was a way to break the contract, but before Rainbow grew up, he would not end his life. Humph. Little Seven snorted coldly. She couldn't help but exert more force on that person's foot. Sima Yue looked at that arrogant face and walked over. She pulled her over and said, Little Seven, let me introduce you. This is Rainbow, a friend of mine. Rainbow, this is Little Seven. Seven turned her head to the side. She didn't like rainbows. Humph. Why did you let that person go just because this guy begged for mercy? Rainbow now looked like a 15 or 16-year-old girl, while Little Seven was still a few years old child. She looked like she was younger than her. She didn't like this feeling. Sima Yue took out a pill and gave it to Rainbow, who fed it to the man. Rainbow, take this person to Beigong and the others. I still have some things to take care of. She pointed at the mountain where Beigong Tang and the others were. Rainbow did not know what Sima Yue wanted to do. He nodded and flew away with Lu Fei. The old woman grabbed the man's clothes and left with him. Little Seven, you should leave with them too. Sima Yue said to Little Seven. I don't want it. Little Seven threw her a sideways glance. Sima Yue did not force her and ordered Hua Hua. Hua Hua, eat these people. Hua Hua was very happy. One flower after another, it ate all of them. Marlin was not spared either. Only Nailan had used some kind of divine weapon to isolate herself, making Hua Hua helpless. Your Highness, Holy Maiden, save us. The people from the Sage Pavilion kept begging her for help, but the divine weapon's light was only big enough for one person. She had no way of letting them in, so she could not say or do anything. She could only close her eyes and put on a pained expression, as if she was feeling guilty for not being able to save them. Your Highness, Holy Maiden, save us. I'm sorry. Nailan kept shaking her head, praying for her master to come quickly. So, a few spiritual powers suddenly appeared in the air and broke Hua Hua's branches. The flower buds fell to the ground, and the people who had been swallowed rolled out. Sima Yue's face darkened. After a while, the other party's reinforcements had arrived. Master. Nailan opened her eyes and looked at the sky happily. A space tunnel opened and Nailan's master, Yu Chengbai, brought a group of people out. With a wave of his hand, more than half of the Hua Hua's branches were cut by him. The Hua Hua had lost so many of its branches, and was in so much pain that it went crazy. Its vines grew quickly and new branches bloomed. It's just a man-eating flower king. How dare it act so rashly in front of me? Yu Chengbai shouted. His spiritual powers quickly condensed, and he was about to attack the Hua Hua. That power could directly smash the Hua Hua into pieces. Sima Yue quickly kept the violent Hua Hua. This guy had been provoked to the point that it had lost its mind. Even if it saw the attack coming, it would not dodge. Yu Chengbai's attack lost its target and hit the ground, creating a hole that was tens of meters deep. Seeing that the Hua Hua had been kept, Nailan kept her divine weapon and flew to Yu Chengbai's side. Master, are you alright? Yu Chengbei asked with concern. I'm fine. Luckily Master came in time. But those senior brothers and sisters, Nalan Lan said sadly. Although the Huahua's buds had been cut, some people had already lost their lives and would never wake up again. Yu Chengbei looked at the dead people wearing the Sage Pavilion's clothes and said, Those who hurt my Sage Pavilion's people will not be let off. Thank you, Master. Nalan Lan obediently flew behind him and stood together with the people who came with Yu Chengbei. Yu Chengbei turned his gaze to Little Tu and said, This is that auspicious beast? It actually turned into a human form? Master, this is originally a person. Nalan Lan said. He has the bloodline of a beast. Now that the spirit beast bloodline has swallowed the human bloodline, he is already an auspicious beast. Postnatal auspicious beast? This kind of auspicious beast is not that useful. Yu Chengbei looked at Little Tu and was somewhat disgusted. Master, although he is a postnatal auspicious beast, the power of his bloodline is very pure. It is higher than the average auspicious beast. Nalan Lan said. What kind of auspicious beast is he? This. I don't know. He only has the aura of an auspicious beast, but he did not show his true form. Nalan Lan said. So we still don't know his true form. Don't know his true form? A voice came from the space. Then, except for the sky above the lake, there were spatial fluctuations in several other places. Those people who were paralyzed on the ground saw their own rescuers. One by one, they were half dead and half alive. They were all full of energy. Ancestor. Sect Master. Master, you're here. Clan Master. Those who came later were very angry when they saw their own disciples or clansmen beaten up like this. But now was not the time to be angry. With a wave of his long sleeves, a pill was sent directly to those people's mouths. Fan Lei saw the people who came later. His face was darker than the bottom of Yoyu's cooking pot. These guys seemed to have other intentions towards Little Tuesday. It did not seem to be just because he was an auspicious beast. He glanced at Little Tu and could not guess the real reason. Chapter 722. The following is provided for you. 722. Please enjoy. There was a constant fluctuation in the air, and one by one people came out of the spatial tunnel. Only a small number of people were summoned by their own people, and most of the people came this time. Sima Yue saw the new people and came to Fan Lei's side saying, Dean Fan, what do you think? The situation is getting more and more complicated. These people seem to have come for other purposes. Fan Lei said. But what purpose could they have for so many people to gather here? No matter what the reason is, their goal is Little Tuesday, Sima Yue said. I only sent a general request signal to Old Yuan and the others. I didn't expect so many people to come. Even if he brings people here, it's useless. Fan Lei said worriedly. Sima Yue looked at those people saying, There are dozens of people from the central region, and hundreds of people from the outer region. What's going on? You can recognize their power from these people. Not bad. Unfortunately, we may not be able to do anything this time. Fan Lei said. There were so many people, and so many of them were very strong. Even if Old Yuan brought people here, even if Sima Yue had the golden winged rock, even if there were so many Egret clan elders, they couldn't leave under the siege of so many monarch-level experts. No matter what, I won't hand over Little Tuesday, Sima Yue said. Dean Fan, I have a way to deal with these people. Please think of a way to leave in a while. Leave. Fan Lei looked at her and shook his head, saying, You and Little Tu are both students of my inner court. How can I leave you behind? Even if I survive, I won't have the face to see Old Yuan again. And I won't have the face to see the students of the academy. Dean Fan, Little Tu is my brother. I can't hand him over, and these people can't give up either. For Little Tu, I may start a massacre today. Sima Yue said. Although I am a student of the academy, I don't want the academy to be directly involved in this matter. Besides, if you're here, I'll kill you too. What are you going to do? Fan Lei had a bad feeling. I have my own way of attacking indiscriminately. However, I might not be able to fight after that. If there are any other situations, I'll have to ask Director Fan to solve it. Sima Yue said. Director Fan, I'm sorry. With that, she grabbed Fan Lei's arm when he wasn't paying attention, and threw him out of the lake, out of the encirclement. Yu Qingbi and the others' target was Little Tuesday. Since he was still there, they didn't put a small dean in their eyes. Sima Yue then walked in front of Feng Zhixing and Tuoba Wuchen. She bowed to them and said, "Young Master Tuoba, thank you for your help just now. The rest is between me and Little Tuesday. Please don't interfere and leave." No. Tuoba Wuchen didn't agree. If it was just a normal heavenly sex student, he would definitely leave without hesitation. However, she was his savior, Feng Zhixing's disciple, and their child. How could he let her face half of the continent's people alone? Feng Zhixing didn't say anything. He only looked at her, using his eyes to express his meaning. Sima Yue looked at Feng Zhixing and smiled gently. "Don't worry. I haven't found my parents yet. There are still many things I need to do. I won't joke around with my life. Since I dare to let you leave, I naturally have absolute confidence. However, I ask that you protect my friends and take them away so that I don't have to worry about them." Feng Zhixing saw her smiling eyes and thought of her mother. The two of them had the same eyes, the same confident light, and the same confident words. He subconsciously nodded and said, "Okay. If anything happens to you, I will let the entire continent be buried with you." Sima Yue was shocked by his serious look. At the same time, she sighed in her heart. It was good to have a domineering master. Feng Zhixing turned and flew towards Bei Gongtang and the others. When Sima Yue was talking just now, she glanced over. The Feng family saw him leave and followed closely. "Hey, you're serious?" Tuoba Wuchen saw that Feng Zhixing was really leaving and shouted at his back. He turned back to look at Sima Yue and sighed helplessly. "If he wants the entire continent to be buried with you, then count me in." Sima Yue smiled. "Young Master Tuoba, he means that I'm dead. Don't worry, I won't give you that chance. You have the same personality as your father. I really don't know what to do with you." Tuoba Wuchen turned and flew away. The Tuoba family also left with him. After the two families left, the center of the lake became empty. Sima Yue came in front of Flamingo and said, "You guys should leave too. We'll talk about your previous matters after this matter is over. Young Master Tuoba and the others helped me just now. You guys can escort them." Flamingo's leader glanced at Little Rock. Seeing that he had no objections, he accepted the order and left. He chased after Feng Zhixing and the others to meet up with Bei Gongtang and the others. "Let's go. I'll send you guys off," Feng Zhixing said to Shimen Feng. "But what about you, Yue?" Kong Sengyi looked worriedly at the four people in the center of the lake. "She'll be fine," Bei Gongtang said. "If we stay here, we'll hinder her movements. It's better to stay away." "But big sister Bei Gong, big brother is only one person. If we knew earlier, we would have brought our clansmen along with us. That way, we could have helped big brother." Rainbow stomped her feet, her heart filled with worry. "Rainbow, you still don't believe in Yue? When did she do something she wasn't sure of?" Wei Ziqi said. "I think she's going to use that move." "That move? What move?" Tuoba Wuchen asked. "Let's leave here first. This is not the place to talk about life." Sima Yulin said. "As for what she's going to do, I believe we'll see soon. You guys are coming with us, right?" The 10 great villains were shocked at this time. Sima Yue gave them too many surprises. She was the junior valley master of the first-ranked Divine Devil Valley. She was an alchemist. She had the man-eating flower king and the king of the rocks, the golden-winged rock. She had a good relationship with the first-ranked clans in the central regions. She even said that if something happened, the entire continent would be buried with her. It was obvious that their relationship was not ordinary. Looking at all of these individually, it would be shocking, not to mention all of them happening to the same person. When they said that she wanted to create a force, they didn't take it to heart because they still didn't believe that she could do it. But now, seeing that she didn't change her expression in the face of so many forces, they all had faith in her. She could survive today's incident and create a force that belonged to her. If she can safely survive today, we will agree to what she said before. Feng Ji suppressed the excitement in his heart and said faintly, actively cooperate with the special campaign to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Readers, please report. Thank you. Chapter 723. She will definitely get through this. You have to remember what you said. Sima Yulin called out his flying beast saying, "Let's go. This is nothing to you, Yue, but it's going to hurt again this time." Fatty Chu wasn't worried about Sima Yue at all. Instead, he was looking forward to what would happen to those people. Really? Rainbow still didn't believe it and wanted to go back to help her. Rainbow will be a hindrance to Yue if we stay here, Bei Gongtang said. Furthermore, if Yue can't handle these people, there's no point in us staying. Instead of waiting for death here, why don't I go back and improve my strength so that I can avenge her in the future? That's right. Sima Yue nodded in agreement. Yue had told them this more than once. If they couldn't win, they shouldn't force themselves to come here. They should escape and seek revenge in the future. If a person died, then there would be nothing left. Therefore, they would never blindly risk their lives for others, because it was useless. Tuoba Wuchun and the others really didn't know why Fatty Chu and the others had so much confidence in Sima Yue, but seeing them like this, their hearts also calmed down a little. Let's go. Sima Yulin urged again. The elders of the Egret clan and Honor Rock knew what Sima Yue wanted to do, so when Little Rock ordered them to leave, they did not hesitate and left the scene directly. They flew dozens of kilometers away and stopped in the air to observe the situation of the Scarlet Flame Lake. The other onlookers also retreated far away. As more and more experts appeared, they already felt that the situation was getting more and more serious. If a fight broke out, they would definitely be affected from their previous distance. Sima Yue and Little Two stood on the island in the middle of the lake. Little Seven refused to leave her side while Little Rock stood by her side to protect her. Now there were only the four of them left on the island, while there were hundreds of people in the air and on the shore. Moreover, any one of them had a higher cultivation level than her. Little Two, when did you become so popular that so many people are fighting for you? Even in such a situation, she still had the mood to chat with Little Tuesday. I don't know. Maybe it's because he's handsome. Little Two said cheekily. When did you learn to be so glib? Sima Yue patted his head and said, I'm guessing that you must be of some use to attract so many people. But what does it do? You want to know? Isn't that easy? Just ask and you'll know. Little Two said. Do you think they'll tell you even if you ask? Are you stupid? Little Seven said with a look of disdain. How do you know without trying? Little Two snorted, then took a step forward and stood in front of Sima Yue saying, Are you here for me? It's just an auspicious beast, yet it can make so many experts appear. It's really strange. Auspicious beast, there are so many of us today. You better follow us obediently, someone said. What are the benefits of following you guys? Little Two asked. Your friend can live. That's still useless to me. Little Two said. I'm just a little auspicious beast. I'm afraid I can't attract the attention of so many forces, right? Since you want me to recognize you as my master. Then can you tell me the reason? Whoever tells me that he can win against us today, I'll go with him. His words had a certain effect. Someone became excited and said, There's a rumor in the continent that an immortal land is about to open, but not everyone can enter. They need an auspicious beast to open the way. Now that the auspicious beast has appeared early, the news of an auspicious beast appearing in the dark forest has spread. Naturally, it will cause everyone to fight over it. You said that if I tell you the reason, you'll go with me. When the people present heard his words, they couldn't help but scold him for being stupid in their hearts. Originally, it was a tacit understanding, but now that it was said, it was different. Since everyone came for this matter, and the news was subconsciously confirmed as true, they would definitely rob it when the time came. And that person was still looking at Little Two, really thinking that he would recognize him as his master. I said that if you can win against us today, I'll go with you. You can't win against us, so why would I go with you? Little Two looked at him as if he was stupid. He felt that this person's IQ was worrying. Did he cultivate too much and damage his brain? There are so many people today. Do you think you can get out of here alive? That person shouted. That said that we only want the blood of the auspicious beast. We didn't say that we want you alive. If you die, we can just divide your flesh and blood. It will also save us from killing each other. Only blood was enough? Sima Yue looked at the big man. She didn't know if this person was really stupid or just pretending to be stupid. If he wasn't stupid, he was easily tricked by little two into revealing the reason for coming. If he was stupid, he calmed the restless crowd with one sentence. Those forces who originally wanted to snatch little two calmed down when they heard his words. That's right, that immortal land only needed the blood of the auspicious beast. They could share it equally. There was no need to fight to the death. There are a lot of auspicious beasts in the primordial lands. Just look at your sage pavilion. Doesn't your holy son have a Kirin beast? Why don't you ask him for it? You have so many pavilions. You can ask him to take some out. You can share it equally. Why fight with others? Sima Yue didn't understand. This auspicious beast must be in its infancy. How difficult is it to find such an auspicious beast now? Someone said. Since you only need the blood of the auspicious beast, I think we shouldn't fight for it. How about we divide the auspicious beast's flesh and blood equally? Yu Qingbai said. The people who came later were very strong. If they fought with them, they wouldn't necessarily win. It was better to leave their strength for the immortal land to find opportunities. That's good. If they could avoid fighting, then they wouldn't fight. Since there was such a good way, why should they fight? It was just an auspicious beast. Although it was precious, it wasn't to the point of falling out with so many forces for it. It was best to divide it equally. Then we'll arrange it according to the order of strength and arrival. Yu Qingbai said. The sage pavilion was very strong. He was the first to arrive. No matter what, he would be first in line. Okay. I agree. Those shameless people agreed. They didn't see Sima Yue's face getting darker and darker. They wanted to divide little two's flesh and blood equally. Sima Yue saw that those guys were discussing enthusiastically. Many people looked at little two with undisguised killing intent. She was getting angrier and angrier. She sneered. You guys are too much. Do you really think this continent is your backyard? That you can do whatever you want? If you want to kill little two for his flesh and blood, have you asked for our opinion? Chapter 724. Sima Yue's cold voice interrupted their discussion. They looked at her as if they were looking at a tiny ant. Humph, a tiny ant dares to speak to us like this? How audacious! An old woman shouted. Although you have the golden-winged great roc, your contracted beast won't be of much use here today. Although there are many bird races in the dark forest, there aren't any big races. You, the king of the rocks, are useless. You'd better obediently hand over the auspicious beast, and we can still give you a way out. When Sima Yue heard these words, she was both angry and amused, saying, You want to kill my family, but you're still so self-righteous. It seems like when you cultivate, you've not only cultivated your spirit energy, but also your skin, right? Otherwise, how could he be so shameless? Be ****. One of the elders choked on Sima Yue's words and sent a wave of spiritual energy towards Sima Yue. Sima Yue pulled little 2 and little 7 and retreated. The spiritual energy hit a black rock and ripples appeared on the surface of the lake. The enchantment enveloped the entire lake. This was the array left behind by Fan Lei. Previously, it had failed because little 2 had absorbed all the surrounding spiritual power, but it was not destroyed. The position she was standing at just now was the array stone that activated the array. Once spiritual power entered the array stone, the array automatically activated. This spirit formation was one of the most difficult spirit formations. Just activating it was not something an ordinary person could do. With her current strength, it would take a while before she could inject enough spiritual energy. In order to catch them off guard, she had angered those people just now so that someone could help her. Who would have thought that those old fellows would be so easily provoked that someone would come to their aid so quickly? Fortunately, someone had sealed the space above the small lake, so when those people came, they were not above the small lake, so there was no outsider in the enchantment. Little 7, little 2, pay attention to the situation outside. If someone attacks, Inject your spiritual energy inside. She instructed. Yu, what are you doing? Little 7 asked. I'm going to set up an array. Since these people want to kill Little 2, I'll make them suffer. Sima Yue finished speaking and took out a large array stone. This was something she had exchanged with Chou Xiaotian in the southern 7 prefectures. There were only a few pieces in total. Originally, she wanted to use it when the array's strength was higher, but in this situation, she had to use it. Sima Yue placed the array stone in the center of the island in the middle of the lake, then took out some ordinary array stones to set up on the island. Of the island. When the people outside saw that the small lake was covered by a thin layer of mist and the small island at the center of the lake had disappeared, they were astonished for a moment. However, they immediately reacted. That person must have made a move and activated some kind of formation. This is a formation? Yu Qingbi asked in astonishment. Master. Nailanlan said. This array was there before. We were blocked by this array for a long time. Later on, for some reason, it lost its effectiveness. I didn't expect it to still be usable now. It's just a spirit formation. Just break it for her. An old man who came with Yu Qingbi said indifferently. At the same time, he prepared to condense spiritual energy to attack the barrier. Wait! A middle-aged man came out from behind and looked at the array excitedly. Xiejun, what are you doing? Yu Qingbi knew this man. He was an elder of an array sect. Seeing him like this, he asked in a deep voice. Yu Qingbi, do you know what kind of array this is? Xiejun asked. Isn't it just an ordinary obstruction array? Why are you making such a fuss about it? Yu Qingbi said. You're wrong. This is an array formation. It's an array formation. Xiejun said excitedly. So what if it's an array formation? Do you remember that there was a sect that lived on arrays? It was popular in the primordial lands. All the forces bowed their heads, and then disappeared in an instant? Xiejun asked. Why don't I know? Didn't your sect use their inheritance as a banner to establish a sect? What does this have to do with the current situation? An old woman in black came out and asked. Sima Yue just looked up and saw the logo on the old woman in black's clothes. She recognized that it was the logo of Cloud Cave. The people of Cloud Cave also came? It was the first time she saw the people of Cloud Cave after the Little Realm cheated the people of Cloud Cave. Thinking of Wu Lingyu's chat, she said that Cloud Cave was recently fighting with Divine Devil Valley. Now that she saw the people of Cloud Cave, she had to entertain her well. She just didn't know what the status of this person was in Cloud Cave. Aunt He, you don't know. Xiejun bowed to Auntie He and said, this spirit formation is unique to the sect that day, and it is a formation that only core disciples can learn. Now that it has appeared here, aren't you curious at all? This array was arranged by the people of the Heavenly Sect. It's not the people of that sect. Yu Qingbi said. That sect has disappeared for nearly 1,000 years. How can this be related to that sect? Well, get out of the way. We don't have time to discuss this array and a sect that has disappeared. Yes, Xiejun, wait until we break the barrier. If you want to study the array, just find the broken array. Now get out of the way. Aunt He also said. Xiejun saw that everyone was looking at him and didn't dare to say anything. He just retreated to the back and guessed how this array was related to the Heavenly Sect. When this was over, he would go to the Heavenly Sect and ask in person. Thinking of visiting the Heavenly Sect in the future, he didn't want to go against the Heavenly Sect. And this Sima Yue was a student of the Heavenly Sect. He couldn't embarrass her. In the battle between the array and the Heavenly Sect, he was hesitant. When he didn't pay attention, he heard a boom. Yu Qingbi and the others were already attacking the barrier. The first attack made the array tremble, but it wasn't completely broken. Little 2 and Little 7 quickly injected their spirit power into the place that Sima Yue said and patched the barrier a little. Yu, the sect's attack is very powerful. We can only hold on for a while. Little 7 said. Sima Yue thought for a while and called out Chongming. Think of a way to stall for 5 minutes. She didn't want Qianyin and the others to come out because she didn't want Nailanlan to know that it was her. Moreover, they weren't strong enough. It was useless for them to come out. But now it seemed that she needed her help. In fact, she thought too much. When Nalanlan was in the Nalan family, she didn't receive much news from the outside world. After she came to the Nalan family, she had been in seclusion to stimulate her body. After she came out, she didn't hear about Chongming. She hadn't seen Chongming in the sacred city before she was brought to the primordial lands. Therefore, she didn't know Chongming. Chapter 725. Chongming nodded at Sima Yue. His hands began to move rapidly. A ripple began to spread out from his hands, and finally attached to the barrier. The barrier that was originally on the verge of collapse seemed to have been wrapped up and became stable again. Ugh! After doing this, he knelt down on one knee and clutched his chest. Blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Chongming, how are you? Little 2 and Little 7 were released from the array and hurried over to support him. Chongming, are you hurt? Chongming waved his hand and said, It's fine. It's just that it's a bit difficult for me to use this move with my current strength. Sima Yue also noticed that something was wrong with Chongming, but she was busy setting up the array and had no time to check on him. She took out a pill and threw it over. Little 2 caught it and immediately fed it to him. Chongming felt better after eating the pill. He stood up and said, This spatial distortion is different from others. This can distort the space outside the barrier so that their attacks can't touch the barrier. However, I won't be able to maintain this barrier for long. Once the time is up, this barrier will most likely disappear in an instant. Sima Yue threw the array stones into the ground one by one, and the array patterns were drawn at the same time. The various techniques were dazzling. At this time, the people outside also realized that something was wrong. Our attacks seemed to have been swallowed by something. They didn't touch the enchantment at all. Auntie Hei said with a frown. Spatial distortion. Xiejun said. This must be spatial distortion. What is spatial distortion? Yu Qingbi asked. Space distortion is the distortion of the layer of space outside the barrier. When our attacks touch the distorted layer, they will be transmitted into the void. So even if we attack now, it will be useless, Xiejun explained. Then what should we do? There's no other way. Once it was used, it could only wait for it to dissipate. If one wanted to use space distortion, they would need to be very strong. That person's strength was very low, so it was impossible for him to use this move. He must have used some other method. This kind of maintenance time is generally not long, just wait for the time to pass. Xiejun said. Let's wait then. He's just a god emperor brat. What kind of waves can he make? Yu Qingbai sneered. He didn't need to say that. Everyone could only wait. What else could they do? All the attacks were useless. No one could do anything. 5 minutes passed and Sima Yue finished setting up the array. She just had to insert her spirit energy, and it would be activated immediately. She came to Halcyon's side and said gratefully, Thank you, Halcyon. Go back and rest. Halcyon nodded and allowed her to take him back. Sima Yue and then looked at the group of people who were getting more and more impatient. With a cold expression her face. Shao Qi, I'm going to trigger the tribulation lightning. Everyone here will be treated as the tribulation lightning. But Xuanyu. But to you. But you don't know. You can trigger the lightning tribulation. Little 7 looked at Sima Yue in surprise. She was still thinking about how she would deal with these people. She thought of countless ways, but she didn't expect her to do this. Sima Yue nodded. Even if Little 2 is willing to follow them, these people don't intend to let us leave alive. So many experts are surrounding us. Do we have any other way to leave? Since that's the case, let's wipe them all out. Little 7 looked at Sima Yue's face. She didn't think that she was cruel. Instead, she was excited. But she was still a little afraid when she thought about lightning tribulation. I've never experienced lightning tribulation. I don't know if this is the reason why I can't evolve. Maybe I can try. Little 7 thought. Maybe I can try this time. Little 7, this lightning tribulation is very powerful. If you don't want to experience it, I can send you to a place. You can only come out after this matter is over. Sima Yu continued when she saw that she was silent. I'll go with you. Little Seven said affirmatively. But I've never experienced lightning tribulation. If something happens, remember to send my body back to Old Yuan. Will you lose your life if you experience lightning tribulation? I don't know. Little Seven said. I'm not human. If I want to increase my strength, I have to evolve. But I haven't evolved for many years. Actually, I was willing to follow you because my intuition told me that if I follow you, I might be able to cross this bottleneck and evolve. But I don't know what's going on. Maybe this is my chance to evolve. I want to try. Sima Yue guessed that Little Seven had a purpose for following her. But Su Jin said that she wasn't in danger, so she didn't ask about it. She didn't expect that she did it for this. You haven't experienced lightning tribulation. If you can't take it, tell me. I'll send you there. Okay. Sima Yue and Little Two agreed. Then she said to Little Two, you just evolved into an auspicious beast. It's good for you to experience lightning tribulation. Like Little Seven, if you can't take it, I'll send you in. Little Two nodded. Boom. As soon as the time was up, the space returned to normal. The people outside couldn't wait to break the enchantment. After delaying for so long, you've lived a little longer. Aunt Hay said, now offer your flesh and blood. She spoke in a rewarding tone, as if it was an honor for Little Two to offer his flesh and blood. If you want to take my life, then let's see if you have the ability. Little Two didn't have the slightest fear. Even if he was forced by so many forces, he still held his head high. Sima Yue looked around at the people outside. There were nearly 200 forces in the middle and outer regions. They were all led by elders or sect masters. Thank you for thinking so highly of us. There are actually so many forces coming to take our lives. Seeing that it's not easy for everyone to cultivate, if anyone leaves. What a joke. Who would leave at this time? A white-bearded old man scolded. Sima Yue saw the Tianshan sect's old ancestor standing behind the old man. She knew that he should also be the Tianshan sect's old ancestor. She sneered. Your Tianshan sect's old ancestor's lifespan is coming to an end. Naturally, he won't want to leave. But you may be stupid, but others aren't as stupid as you. There will always be people who want to leave. If you leave now, I can let bygones be bygones. Ha 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 ha. A person who is about to die can actually say that he will let bygones be bygones. Do you think you can live? Sima Yue glanced at the man and didn't say anything. She was too lazy to waste her breath on people who were about to die. Chapter 726. The following is provided for you. 726. Please enjoy. We withdraw, Xiejun suddenly said. Xiejun, are you out of your mind? Someone sneered. Xiejun cupped his hands at Sima Yue and said, we quit. Sima Yue waved at him, indicating that they could leave. She was grateful to Xiejun. When he saw the barrier, he stopped everyone from attacking immediately and bought her some time. Moreover, he did not reveal any killing intent afterwards. He did not want to take their lives. Xiejun took his people and flew away. They didn't open a spatial channel to leave. Instead, like everyone else, they watched from afar. He also wanted to know how this person was going to get out of this predicament. Sima Yue looked at the others and said, is there anyone else who wants to leave? No one said anything. All right, since you don't want to leave, you can stay. Sima Yue said as she channeled some spiritual energy into her feet. The array that she had just set up was instantly activated. Those people felt a slight fluctuation in the air, but they did not take it to heart. Xiejun, who was already far away from the center of the forest, changed his expression. Dragon trapping array, it's actually the dragon trapping array. He cried out involuntarily. The person behind him saw him turn pale with fright and asked curiously, Master, what kind of formation is the dragon trapping array? Why are you so surprised? The dragon trapping formation is also a formation left behind by the sect. It is an extremely powerful trapping formation. There weren't many formations required, but they were difficult to set up. The incomplete formation at the back of our mountain is the dragon trapping formation. It's a pity that we haven't been able to come up with a simple method like we did back then. I didn't expect to see it with my own eyes today. What a surprise! Master, the defense array and the dragon trapping array both appeared in the Heavenly Heaven School. Could there be people from the sect in the school? Very likely, Xiejun said. Fortunately, we came out. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to come out now. Xiejun sighed. Master, even you can't break this dragon trapping array? Even a true dragon wouldn't be able to escape from the dragon trapping array, let alone us. Xiejun said. Moreover, this dragon trapping array is ever-changing. As long as there is a little difference, the way to break it will be different. Therefore, since ancient times, the only person who can break this dragon trapping array is the person who set it up. In other words, apart from that person, no one else can come out? In theory, yes. What is this person trying to do? Although this dragon trapping array is powerful, it also trapped them inside. Let's wait and see, Xiejun said. Maybe they can really leave this place. The other onlookers were confused by Sima Yoyue's move. Why did she trap herself with those people? As an array formation master, Hongwu could tell at a glance that this was a trapping array that trapped everyone together. Where did this trapping array come from? Anine asked. Of course it was arranged by Yue. Fatty Chu said proudly. She's also an array master? Anine's eyes widened in surprise. Of course it is. If not, where would this array come from? Fatty Chu glanced at Anine with a look that said, Are you stupid? Isn't she an alchemist? Who said that an alchemist can't be an array master? The 10 great evils were stunned again. This guy was also an array master? Wasn't this too horrifying? Fatty Chu saw the shock on their faces and snickered in his heart. When they were with her, they were shocked by her from time to time. These people didn't know anything about her yet. After a while, Hongwu said faintly, Not only is she an array master, she's also a very powerful array master. This array can't be set up by ordinary array masters, let alone in such a short time. But she trapped everyone together. How are they going to come out? Shurchen asked. She's not in a hurry to come out now. Those people who dare to have designs on Yue can wait to go to hell. Fatty Chu clenched his fist and snorted. Shurchen and Feng Kai looked at each other, not understanding what they were doing. Just at this moment, Hongwu suddenly shouted, Array within array. Everyone knew what array within array was. Anine and the rest had heard him mention it more than once. Although he also knew how to set up an array within an array, he definitely couldn't set it up in such a short time. Heavens, what kind of genius is she? Hongwu looked at Sima Yue, his eyes shining. Anine and the rest had never seen him like this. Sima Yue stood on the spot, looking at the group of people who finally reacted and smiled sweetly. Why did you trap us? Yu Qingbai and the rest stared at her, not hiding the killing intent in their eyes. If she hadn't suddenly activated a small array to protect the 3 of them, they would have already killed them all. I'll treat you all to a big meal, Sima Yue said. I feel that I haven't stretched my muscles for a long time, so I'll treat you all together. Everyone didn't understand what she meant, but a bad premonition arose in their hearts. Sima Yue mobilized the top-grade purple lightning in her body, and her body emitted a special aura. Following the release of this aura, dark clouds began to condense in the sky. Everyone present were strong cultivators who had experienced many things, but once the aura of the lightning tribulation appeared, their faces changed. There were so many of them together, and they were all very strong. If they were to undergo the tribulation together, they were afraid that the lightning tribulation would directly strike them into pieces. Lightning tribulation. Why is there a lightning tribulation? It's her. She must have caused it. Sima Yue admitted generously. That's right, I caused it. Didn't I say that I'll invite everyone to stretch their muscles with me? That's right. I was the only one who went through the tribulation. This time, there are so many people who are going to be struck by lightning with me. I'm very happy. You're so despicable. Ma Lin scolded. Despicable? Sima Yue suddenly laughed. So many of you have surrounded us here, wanting to kill me and take my brother's flesh and blood. Aren't you despicable? This is an open and above-board counterattack. Quickly stop. Don't trigger the lightning tribulation again. Someone shouted. It's too late. Once the lightning tribulation is triggered, if it doesn't strike people, how will it leave? Sima Yue kindly told them this fact. Those people also understood that once the lightning tribulation appeared, it would definitely not leave easily. Seeing that the dark clouds were getting deeper and deeper, they couldn't care less about little two, and one by one, they turned to attack the array. As long as the array was broken, they could leave here. Before the lightning tribulation struck, they could leave. Sima Yue saw that their attacks were getting more and more impatient, and laughed. This is the dragon trapping array. Even if a real dragon is here, it can't get out. You guys should just stop worrying and face the lightning tribulation with me. Hearing her words, those people began to go crazy, and attacked the array even more frantically, but it didn't have any effect at all. I love my academy. Actively cooperate with the special operation to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Please report. Thank you everyone. Chapter 727. The formation couldn't be broken, and the tribulation clouds were getting thicker and thicker. Those old fellows who usually didn't show their emotions on their faces changed. Young friend, everything can be discussed. If you open this formation, we won't want the blood of the auspicious beast anymore. How about that? Someone gave in, and tried to put in a good word with Sima Yue. Don't you think it's too late to say that now? Sima Yue enjoyed the anger and fear in their eyes with satisfaction. These people were all high and mighty. Presumably, it had been many years since they had tasted the feeling of being at the mercy of others. Young friend, as long as you open up the formation, we're willing to reconcile. Another person called out. Reconcile. Sima Yue was amused by these people who still thought they were superior. If it was before, reconciliation would have been a good choice. But now it's too late. Even if I let you go today and reconcile with you, I'm afraid you won't let me go in the future. If that's the case, why bother trying to reconcile? Little friend, do you really want to become enemies with so many of us? Even if you are a student of the Sky Heaven School, the school won't let you do this. Since persuasion was useless, he changed to threats. What does today's matter have to do with the academy? Sima Yue said. Although we are students of the academy didn't care about this before. It's our own business now. This was also the reason why she had asked Fanlei to leave. The academy was not directly involved, so when the time came, the academy could not be blamed. Little friend, if I were you, I wouldn't waste my energy on other things right now. Instead, I would prepare for the lightning tribulation. Although I really like to see your regretful faces. Sima Yue said. The grudge between us was formed when you insisted on killing us. I'm not a good-tempered person either. If someone wants to kill me, I'll stick my neck out. Besides, I gave you a chance to leave, but you didn't take it. The color of the tribulation clouds was still darkening, scaring the onlookers and causing them to continuously retreat. At this moment, the spirit beasts in the forest became frantic, and all of them ran out of the forest. Bei Gongtang and the others previously felt that they were too far away, but now they were just outside the lightning tribulation. This tribulation cloud feels like it's going to come down. This was the first time Ni had seen such a terrifying lightning tribulation. It gave him a suffocating feeling as if it could destroy the world. This move of hers is too ruthless. She first trapped them, and then used the lightning tribulation to deal with them. He's going to wipe them all out. The ninth brother, Tao Hongsheng, smacked his lips and sighed. He felt lucky that Sima Yue did not use these tricks to deal with them. If she really wanted to deal with them, the possibility of them breaking out of the encirclement was really small. Feng Zhixing and Tuoba Wuchen were also shocked. Words couldn't describe his feelings now that Yue was able to trigger the lightning tribulation. This move was indeed ruthless, pulling everyone to undergo the tribulation together. With so many people present, the tribulation would most likely be bigger than anything they had ever seen before. Although those people were very strong, their bodies were not as strong as spirit beasts. In front of the lightning tribulation, they were just a bunch of weaklings. However, the worry in everyone's hearts did not dissipate. Rainbow saw the tribulation cloud and her eyes were filled with fear. She grabbed Bei Gong Tang's hand and asked in a trembling voice, "Sister Bei Gong, such a big lightning tribulation. Brother is inside. Isn't it very dangerous?" If even those monarch-ranked experts could not withstand it, how could Sima Yue escape? Yue has the top-grade purple lightning in her body. Normal lightning tribulations do not have much of a threat to her. Bei Gong Tang explained. Do not have much of a threat? Everyone's jaws dropped. They all had the same expression and looked extremely funny. She's too unbelievable. Anayani cried out. What is she made of? How can she be so powerful? No one's achievements are obtained for free. Yue has suffered a lot and put in a lot of sweat. Wei Ziqi said emotionally. Although the top-grade purple lightning in her body is very powerful, in order to successfully obtain it, she was struck by the lightning tribulation until her entire body turned into charcoal. Only her internal organs still had a trace of life. That kind of pain is not something that ordinary people can understand. That's right. In order to learn alchemy and arrays, she often did not rest for a few months. She was always immersed in research. So although she has some achievements, it makes people feel even more distressed. Everyone present was moved. They did not think that Sima Yue would experience so much pain. Their gazes towards her were less envious and more admiring. Not to mention other things, just this lightning tribulation alone was something that they did not have the courage to face. Suddenly their faces changed. Everyone stepped back at the same time. The tribulation cloud in the sky was rapidly expanding. Their location was already within the range of the lightning tribulation. Heavens, this lightning tribulation won't destroy the entire forest, right? Fatty Chu cried out. Can Yue withstand it? Bei Gong Tang and the others also became serious. They were faintly worried. Those who were trapped in the dragon trapping array saw the black tribulation cloud, and their faces became paler. They looked at Sima Yue with eyes full of regret. If they knew it would be like this, even if they could not get the meat of the auspicious beast today, they would not go against her. But there was no medicine for regret in this world. Each of them could only swallow the bitter fruit into their stomachs. Pa-dash! Ah-dash! The first wave of lightning fell. Many people were struck and screamed. Those who were more powerful condensed a body protection, but it was broken in a few strikes. Bolts of lightning continued to strike down, and miserable screams continued to ring out. Those who were weaker were struck twice and turned into dregs. There were also a few who were in a better state. They weren't in a sorry state, and were instead wrapped in halos of light. For example, Nailan and Yu Qingbai. The two of them were in the protective circle and looked at the miserable situation outside. Lightning protection divine tool. Someone recognized the thing in Nailan's hand. Nailan and Yu Qingbai were incomparably glad at this time. Because of Nailan's physique, Yu Qingbai calculated that there would be a lightning tribulation when she advanced to the god rank, so he found this thing for her. But when she advanced to the god rank, there was no lightning tribulation. He did not expect it to come in handy now. Sima Yue's small protective array was still protecting the three of them from being struck by lightning, but it could not hold on for long. She looked at the two people who were protected in the air and frowned in dissatisfaction. Pa-dash, pa-dash, lightning kept falling. She found that she had the most lightning here, and suddenly had an idea. If the two of you can't hold on, call me. After she finished speaking, she flew out of the protective array. Pa-dash, a bolt of lightning fell on her body. She only felt that her body was a little numb. There was no pain like before. After the electric current went around her body, it was absorbed by the top-grade purple lightning into the lightning pool. Chapter 728. The following is provided for you. 728. Please enjoy. This was the first time she had been struck by lightning since the heavenly lightning in the Nine-Star Ocean. Thinking of the pain from the previous time, she still had some lingering fears before she came out. She didn't expect it to be so easy this time. She was very happy. This top-grade purple lightning was really quite useful. The top-grade purple lightning in her body felt her thoughts and looked at her with disdain. Back then, it didn't know how it was absorbed into the body of such a weak chicken. It was simply too embarrassing. No, it had to become stronger quickly. Once it became stronger, it would be able to break away from this weak chicken. Yes, it had to absorb more lightning. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to become stronger. At the thought of this, it absorbed even more frequently, constantly attracting lightning to strike it. Sima Yue realized that the lightning was striking her more frequently. She thought that it was because she left the protection array and didn't think much about it. She flew towards Nalanlan and the rest. What are you doing? Go away. Nalanlan saw Sima Yue coming over, and her expression changed as she screamed. They had been observing the situation outside and realized that Yue, as the person undergoing the tribulation, was struck by lightning the most times. Now that she came over, wouldn't they be implicated by her and have to undergo the tribulation together? Sima Yue stopped outside their protection array and smiled at the people inside. Then she stopped and didn't leave. Pa! A thick lightning bolt struck down. Not only did it strike her, it also struck Yu Qingbi and the rest's protection array. Pa! Pa! A few lightning bolts struck down consecutively. Nalanlan and Yu Qingbi's hearts trembled. Master, the lightning outside is too strong. I'm afraid this lightning protection array won't last long. Master, we have to think of a way now. Nalanlan shouted. What can we do now? Yu Qingbi was also anxious. The space has been locked. We can't leave even if we want to. Pa! Ah! A loud boom exploded above their heads. Nalanlan screamed in fright. Sima Yue did not expect such a huge lightning bolt to strike her. Without any defense, she was turned into charcoal. The top-grade purple heavenly lightning shrank its neck in the lightning pool. Damn it, it had absorbed too much just now and forgot to control its strength. It had attracted such a huge heavenly lightning. It hoped that she didn't notice. Cough cough. She coughed twice and spat out a mouthful of black smoke. Her entire body was charred black, and her hair had turned into an explosive style. Fortunately, her clothes were specially refined, so they wouldn't be burnt. Otherwise, she would have to run naked. Damn it, didn't you say that it wouldn't have any killing power? Why is it so painful? She took out a pill and swallowed it. Only then did the burning pain on her body lessen a little. The tribulation clouds in the sky were still very thick. They didn't disperse even though they had been striking for so long. This meant that there was still a lot of lightning to come. In the dragon trapping array, many people had already fainted on the ground or fell into the lake. In short, there were corpses everywhere. There were also some people who used this method to defend against the lightning. However, after being struck for so long, those methods were useless. They could only rely on themselves to receive the heavenly lightning. Sima Yue looked at Little Seven and Little Tuesday. The defense array had already collapsed. The two of them were relying on their own strength to defend against the lightning. Little Two was still fine. Although he was in human form, he had the strong defense of a spirit beast. Little Seven was in a worse state. She had never experienced a lightning tribulation before, and her body wasn't as strong as Little Two's. After being struck by the lightning, she instantly felt as if her body was being torn apart. The spiritual power in her body involuntarily circulated. After that, the two of them were struck a few more times. They were both injured. Although Little Seven ate the pill that Sima Yue gave her, she still felt that she couldn't take it anymore. Brother, Little Seven can't take it anymore. Little Two shouted at Sima Yue. Sima Yue was surrounding Nalanlan and the rest to guide the heavenly lightning. When she heard Little Two shout, she looked down and immediately gave up on them. She quickly flew to the small island and pulled Little Seven into the water. Then she kept Little Seven into the spirit pagoda. This was the method that she had just thought of. She couldn't make people disappear in broad daylight. However, if she went into the water, who would know where Little Seven went? Water was a conductor. If the lightning went into the water, it would be even more uncomfortable for her. Hence, she quickly came out. After leaving the water, she didn't find trouble with Nalanlan and her disciple anymore. Instead, she stood on the small island and looked at the grand scene that she created. This top-grade purple lightning is really useful. If it was in the past, I would have collapsed long ago with so much lightning. Sima Yue muttered to herself. When the top-grade purple lightning heard Sima Yue praising it, it smiled proudly. However, in its happiness, it forgot to control its aura and accidentally attracted another heavenly lightning. The lightning that was as thick as a water bucket hit her body. She was stunned. Isn't it always a small heavenly lightning? What the hell is with such a big lightning? She wailed in her heart. Ami tofu, I really didn't do it on purpose. The top-grade purple lightning repented in its heart. It felt that Sima Yue's body seemed to be a little miserable from the lightning. It quickly took measures to remedy it. Sima Yue was in so much pain that she grimaced. Fortunately, after this lightning, there was no other lightning for the time being. It seemed that the entire lightning tribulation needed to rest, and then recover. When the others saw that the lightning had stopped, they weren't very happy. This was because the dark clouds didn't seem to have any intention of dissipating. This meant that there was more to come. You brat, you're ruthless. If I don't die today, I will kill you with my own hands. Aunt He said hatefully. Their lightning tribulation wasn't as powerful as Sima Yue's, but they were more miserable than her. There was no flesh on Aunt He's body. It was all charred black charcoal. However, these old fellows were very strong. They used their spiritual power to protect their heart meridians. They wouldn't die for a while. It would have been better if Aunt He didn't say anything. Now that she said it, it reminded Sima Yue that she couldn't let them have a chance to leave. These old things underestimated the enemy, so they gave her time to implement her plan. She couldn't make the same mistake as them. After making up her mind, she looked at the dark clouds in the sky, and then smiled very unscrupulously. Since you've said so, I definitely can't let you leave alive. She ate a pill and waited for the next wave of lightning to come. Aunt He's heart went numb when she saw Yue's smile. What bad things was she going to do again? The lightning began to strike randomly. Sima Yue suddenly flew up from the island and ran straight to Aunt He. Auntie He was originally hanging on by a breath. As a result, when Sima Yue came, the center of the lightning immediately shifted to her. Several bolts of lightning struck together, directly turning her into a pile of slag. I love my academy. Actively cooperate with the special action to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Thank you. Chapter 729. The following is provided for you. 729. Please enjoy. This time, not only did Aunt He disappear, but the people nearby were also not spared. Sima Yue was satisfied with the result, and began to run around in the dragon trapping array. Wherever she went, the lightning was especially fierce. Those who were still stubbornly resisting saw her coming, and ignored the pain in their bodies and ran around. When the onlookers outside saw her like this, they could not help but twitch their mouths. It was obviously a very serious matter, but they made people feel inexplicably happy. This guy is too bad. Anayani commented. The others nodded in agreement. He was really too bad. But why did they not hate him at all? Instead, they liked him a little? Sima Yue ran one round and could not run anymore. Those people were struck by lightning, but she was struck even harder. And there were not many left alive. And in the process, Nalan Land's divine artifact was completely destroyed, the protective circle disappeared, and they were also struck by lightning. However, she had a lot of treasures. She took out some clothes and put them on. When the lightning struck her body, the lethality was sharply reduced. After being struck a few times, she did not lie down, but she was also in a sorry state. Her face was distorted from the pain. Yu Qingbi did not have anything good to avoid lightning. He took a few things, but they were all destroyed by the lightning. He had to use his spiritual power to resist. He was in a sorry state. Sima Yue saw that almost all of them had fallen to the ground, and felt that it was worth it to be struck so hard. Suddenly, her face changed and she secretly shouted, "Not good." Because the lightning tribulation was too powerful, when it struck, even the space was distorted. It had unintentionally broken the dragon trapping array. Yu Qingbi and Nalan Lan were happy to see this. Nalan Lan shouted, "Master!" Yu Qingbi was in pain all over, but at this time he could only grit his teeth and endure. He took out a boundary-breaking talisman and injected his spiritual power, but before he could open it, he was struck by lightning and was charred on the outside and tender on the inside. Yu Qingbi felt that he had never suffered such an injury in his life. His heart was full of hatred. He really wanted to tear Sima Yue apart with his own hands. However, he didn't have the time or energy to do so now. He threw away the remaining half of the breaking boundary talisman in his hand, and took out another one. He managed to open a space tunnel before the lightning struck. However, before they could enter, another bolt of lightning struck the two of them. By the time the two of them recovered, the passage had already closed. After wasting 2 boundary-breaking talismans in a row, Yu Qingbi's heart ached. He took out the last piece. If they failed this time, they would probably die here today. Fortunately, he succeeded this time. The lightning seemed to have struck him twice, and he wanted to take a break, which gave him enough time. Let's go. Yu Qingbi pulled Nalanlan into the spatial passage. Master, senior apprentice brother, he. Nalanlan looked at the piece of charcoal in the distance, which had already been struck to its last breath. I don't have time to care about him. Let's go. Just as the two of them entered, the passageway closed. The two of them had successfully escaped. Before leaving, Nalanlan turned around and saw Sima Yue. Suddenly, her eyes widened as if she had recognized her. The lightning struck her human skin mask, and she was now showing her original appearance. Although her face was now charred black, her outline could still be recognized. Because the power of the lightning tribulation had increased, Sima Yue was also a little overwhelmed. She could only watch as Nalanlan and Yu Qingbi broke the boundary and left. Damn you! You can even escape like this. She cursed in her heart and continued to resist the lightning. Although Yu Qingbi and Nalanlan had escaped, the others were not so lucky. Although most of them had the breaking boundary talisman in their hands, they had been struck by lightning for so long that they no longer had the ability to use it. They could only watch as the chance of survival slipped away from their hands. There were a few who could barely fly. However, before they could fly far, they were destroyed by the lightning. As more and more people were destroyed, the power of the lightning tribulation became weaker and weaker. It was not like before, where the last lightning strike was always the most powerful. Half an hour later, the tribulation cloud had enough lightning and left satisfied. Sima Yue was now lying on the ground and could not get up. Although she was now immune to lightning, she could not withstand such lightning strikes. Moreover, there were always a few big ones from time to time, which made her whole body hurt. Little Tu was lying beside her. His situation was worse than hers. However, as long as he was still breathing, it was fine for them. The onlookers flew over. Feng Zhixing and the others flew the fastest. They came to Sima Yue's side. Yue, how are you? Feng Zhixing saw that she was covered with cuts and bruises. He was very distressed. It was all because he was not strong enough to intimidate these people. Otherwise, why would she do such a thing when she was surrounded? Tuoba Wuchen saw Feng Zhixing's expression and knew what he was thinking. Seeing him blaming himself, he could not help but roll his eyes in his heart. Big brother, look at the charred corpses everywhere. Your little disciple is already very good, okay? Although Sima Yue was in pain, it was not as bad as the last time. She was lying on the ground. Looking at the people who surrounded her, she said, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Go and see if there are any survivors. Bei Gongtang and the others understood tacitly, and immediately went to check. They really did discover that a few of them were still alive. These people were all very strong and had a lot of secret methods. They actually survived such a destructive lightning tribulation. However, before they could be happy, Bei Gongtang and the others found them. Then, taking advantage of their heavy injuries, they all got rid of them. From then on, the people who surrounded them, other than Xiejun and his disciples who left, and Nalanlan and her master who escaped, were all annihilated. Yue, quickly tell master, how are you? Feng Zhixing wanted to take Sima Yue's pulse, but her body was already burnt. He did not know where to start. Master, I'm fine. I just need to eat some pills. I'll be fine in 2 or 3 days. Sima Yue smiled at Feng Zhixing. But that appearance was as ugly as it could be. The 10 great villains, Jun and the others who rushed over were all shocked when they heard her call Feng Zhixing master. They thought that she had a good relationship with Feng Zhixing. They did not expect that she was his disciple. They were very clear about the strength of the Feng clan in the inner regions. They had a family in the inner regions. If they stomped their feet in the inner regions, the entire inner regions would tremble. And Feng Zhixing was also an influential figure that they knew. He was a junior with a very high position in the Feng family. And he was actually her master. The 10 great villains were shocked by Sima Yoyue's surprise. The more they knew, the more they admired her. Although her age was only a fraction of theirs. Yue, it's all settled. Bei Gongtang and the others returned. Fatty Chu was still leading the elders of the Egret clan to clean up the corpses. Just when everyone thought that the matter was completely over, there was suddenly a slight fluctuation in space. Soon a space channel opened, and a few people walked out from it. Thank you everyone. Chapter 730. When Yuan Shaojie let his men out, the first thing they saw was the charred corpses strewn all over the ground. The plants and trees were all gone. It was a complete mess. The fact that Fan Lei was still standing there in one piece put their hearts at ease. What happened? Who had the ability to destroy the heart of the dark forest? Old Yuan, what took you so long? When Fan Lei saw Yuan Shaojie, he felt a little resentful. If he had come earlier, this child would not have to use such a method. As soon as I received your message, I rushed over with my men. What happened? Yuan Shaojie was a little surprised. Why was this guy, who was usually cold and arrogant, acting so strange today? Fan Lei briefly recounted what had happened today, shocking Yuan Shaojie and the people behind him. Hundreds of monarch-level experts were all killed. Su Jin was astonished, then he laughed out loud. Ha ha ha, not bad, as expected of my disciple so domineering. Master, do you have to be so happy? I've offended hundreds of forces in one go. Sima Yue could not help but mock him when she saw him laughing so happily. What are you afraid of? If there's anything, you still have your masters. Su Jin said disapprovingly. The other 2 people who came with Yuan Shaojie weren't paying attention to this. When they heard Fan Lei mention the dragon trapping formation, they started to wander around the small island. Then they ran over excitedly and said, "It really is the dragon trapping formation. Who set up this array formation?" Yue set it up, Fan Lei said. If it weren't for this array formation, I'm afraid things wouldn't have ended so easily. If those people hadn't been trapped, they would have left directly and returned after the Thunder Tribulation. Yu and the others would have been in danger. When the 2 of them heard that it was Yue who had set it up, their expressions changed. They looked surprised, hesitant, and in disbelief. One of them even looked wary. They wanted to say something, but before they could speak, they were interrupted by Su Jin. If you have anything to say it later. My disciple needs to rest. Can't you see that she's suffered such serious injuries? These 2 old fellows shouldn't have any ideas about his disciple. Otherwise, he wouldn't be polite to them. Even if their identities were very honorable, he was not an incompetent person. Sima Yue recognized them. They were the 2 who were guarding the teleportation formation outside the inner yard. Why are they here together? Yuan Shaojie looked around and didn't see Little Seven. He asked, Yue, where's Little Seven? He couldn't have been taken away, right? Dean, don't worry. Little Seven is in a safe place. Sima Yue replied. She didn't elaborate further. All right, let's leave this place. Su Jin said. The place was filled with corpses, and it was not a good place to talk. Yuan Shaojie and the others also wanted to know more about what had happened, so they said, then let's go to the nearest city. Sima Yuming stepped forward and carried Sima Yue. Fan Lei went up and picked Little Two up. At this time, Xie Jun came forward with his men and bowed to the crowd. Then he bowed to Sima Yue and said gratefully, Thank you for sparing my life today. Sima Yue saw that his attitude was good and smiled. The person who saved your life today is you. I just gave you a chance. If you didn't give us this chance, we wouldn't have made the right choice. Xie Jun said, If you need it in the future, you can take the token and look for me directly. Sima Yuqi took the token. We'll take our leave. Xie Jun bowed to the crowd and left with his men. Although he wanted to ask Yuan Xiaojie and the others about the spirit barrier, he knew that now was not the time. They still had a lot of things to deal with. If he disturbed them now, it might be annoying. The other people who were watching the fun also left. This incident had a big impact on them. If they encounter such things in the future, they must not be hot-headed. They must recognize the situation. Otherwise, if they lost their lives, they would lose everything. Yuan Xiaojie was about to open the space tunnel when Sima Yue suddenly stopped him. Dean, wait a minute. I have something to deal with. What else do you have to do? Sima Yue looked at the Flamingo King. The Flamingo King hurriedly came to her and said, I didn't know it was the king's contract master. If I offended you, please punish me. The Flamingo King felt Little Rock's aura from behind and rushed over. When he arrived, Sima Yue was already in the dragon trapping array. Well, you have to be punished, Sima Yue said. The Flamingo King felt cold all over. If he was in human form, he would be sweating. Seeing him trembling, she rolled her eyes and said, I haven't said how to punish you. Why are you all trembling? I offended the king's contract master and should be executed. The leader said. Did they think she was going to kill them? Okay, stop trembling. If you continue to tremble, your feathers will fall off. Sima Yue didn't scare them and said, I'm still relatively easy to talk to. You didn't know before, so I don't intend to kill you. In order to take a warning, you have to hand over 20 bird eggs. Just giving 20 bird eggs was enough? The birds were surprised. Why, you don't want to? Or do you want me to take your life? Sima Yue asked in a deep voice when she saw that they didn't respond. No. The Flamingo King said. We will give you the eggs. Go back and get 20 eggs. Although it was distressing, this punishment was really light compared to the extermination of so many clansmen. Sima Yulin and the others didn't expect Sima Yue to still be thinking about their mission at this time. They didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Wouldn't it be better to wait for her to heal, and then come back to take a look? What they didn't know was that after this incident, she didn't plan to come to the dark forest again. In this place, she wouldn't come as long as she didn't have to. Killing so many strong people at once, her little heart still couldn't calm down. Soon, the flamingo eggs were sent over. Sima Yue calmly put them away. She didn't say that this was actually the sect's mission. Okay, you can go back. She began to drive them away as soon as she got the things. We will take our leave. The Flamingo King hurriedly flew away with his clansmen, heartbroken at the loss of 20 bird eggs. Let's go too, Su Jin said. Yuan Xiaojie opened the space tunnel, but before it was fully opened, the tunnel closed again for some reason. What's wrong? Su Jin asked. Someone is controlling this space. Yuan Xiaojie said. Even you can't open it? Fan Lei's expression changed. The person who came is stronger than me. Yuan Xiaojie's face was solemn. Everyone was silent. Who was it that could actually trap all of them in this small world? Chapter 731. The following is the Little Two's true identity provided for you. Please enjoy. Sima Yue's heart sank. They had already controlled the space before they even arrived. How strong were they? If they were here for Little Two, would they have the ability to stop them? And with her current state, even if she wanted to trigger the lightning tribulation, she wouldn't be able to. But if they couldn't protect Little Two, she didn't dare to think further. If they really couldn't, they could only ask her for help. She just didn't know if she would make it in time. After a while, the space tunnel opened, and a few tall people with golden eyes walked out. They glanced at everyone present, and many of them knelt down directly. Sima Yue felt her breathing tighten. It was as if a mountain was pressing down on her, and she couldn't breathe at all. Even Yuan Xiaojie and the rest had some difficulty and lowered their heads slightly. What a strong pressure! When they saw Little Two, the leader waved his hand and Little Two flew from Fan Lei's hand and landed in his arms. Let go of Little Two. Fatty Chu shouted anxiously. Who are you? One of them snorted and Fatty Chu fell to the ground, his bones broken. Fatty, Ouyang Fei and the rest surrounded Fatty Chu in the middle to protect him. However, it was useless for them to do so. Who are you? Fan Lei held back his anger and asked. Who we are is not something you can ask. The one holding little two said. This is one of us. We want to take him away. I saved little Tuesday. He is my brother. You want to take him away, but have you asked for our permission? Sima Yue came down from Sima Yuming's body. Her body was completely unrecognizable, but she still straightened her body and looked at them fearlessly. A little human dares to climb up to my clan. You overestimate yourself. The leader exerted pressure on Sima Yue, wanting to take her life, but the pressure was pushed back by a gentle force. Who? That person shouted. Although he was injured by his own strength, he was furious. Sima Yue felt a cold and gentle force flowing through her body. She felt much better. Aunt Feng, she called out joyfully. Feng Ruyan's figure came out from Sima Yue's body. Looking at her current appearance, she frowned. How did it end up like this? Feng Ruyan was a little unhappy as she raised her head to look at those people and asked, Did they do it? Aunt Feng, it wasn't them. I was the one who triggered the lightning tribulation, and was struck by lightning, Sima Yue said. Only a life and death situation can touch me. So, these people want to kill you? Feng Ruyan looked at those people indifferently. Who would have thought that just one look from him would make these arrogant people lower their heads? The leader bowed towards Feng Ruyan and said, Ancestor Feng, we are the descendants of the ancient divine ape. My name is Huabin. These children have the bloodline of our clan. Today, we are here to take them away. I didn't mean to make things difficult for these people. Ancient divine ape? Sima Yue was shocked. She had never heard of this when she was in the middle region. She thought that little two had the bloodline of the middle region's full ape, but it seemed that this was not the case. No, I don't want to go with you. Little two woke up. When he heard that they wanted to take him away, he struggled without caring about his injuries. I want to be with Big Brother and Big Sister. I don't want to go with you. Big Brother Yue, I don't want to go. Save me. Sima Yue saw that Little Two was against it and said, You heard it. Little Two said that he doesn't want to go with you. You are the descendant of the ancient divine ape. Your bloodline cannot be left outside. If you don't want to return to the clan, even if your bloodline is noble, we can't keep you. The leader said. Big Brother, I don't want to go. If I go, I won't be able to see you again. I will be trapped in a small corner for the rest of my life, and will never see the light of day again. Little Two struggled. Who said that we will trap you for the rest of your life? Huabin slapped Little Two's head. Thinking of his strength, Sima Yue and the rest were afraid that he would smash Little Two into pieces. In the end, nothing happened to Little Tuesday. Didn't you say that you want to go back? If you go back, won't you not be able to come out? Little Two retorted. Letting you go back is to let you acknowledge your ancestors and train you better. It's not like we want to restrict your freedom. Huabin was angered by Little Two's ability to understand. Then can I come out? Little Two asked. If you can pass the test, you can come out. Huabin said. Oh. Little Two was silent for a while and said, Big Brother, I will go with them. Little Two, have you thought it through? Sima Yue looked at him and asked. Big Brother, I want to become stronger. Little Two said. Today's matter, if it wasn't because I was too weak and attracted so many people's attention, why would there be so many people surrounding and attacking us? If it wasn't because I was weak, why would I need Big Brother to use such a method to protect me? Although those lightning bolts struck your body, every single one of them struck my heart. Every time, it was Big Brother who saved me and protected me. I also want to protect Big Brothers. When Sima Yue heard Little Two's words, her eyes became warm. However, she was still worried and turned to look at Feng Ruyan. Aunt Feng. I have some relations with the ancient ape ancestor and know some things. It's not bad for this child to go back. Feng Ruyan said. Since Feng Ruyan said it was not bad, she was relieved and said to Little Two, Since you want to go back, then go back. After all, they are your clansmen. However, if you leave, we won't be able to protect you in the future. You have to take care of yourself, understand? Little Two nodded. He did not feel too bad because he had made up his mind. As long as he went back, he would come back to find them when he became stronger. Let's go back, Huabin ordered. Little Tu agreed and Sima Yue did not have any objections. Naturally, Feng Ruyen did not have any objections. The few of them bowed to Feng Ruyen, and then opened a space tunnel to leave. They originally thought that it would be a fierce battle, but in the end, it was resolved so easily. Those who had not gone far were surprised. However, today's matter gave them enough things to talk about. It was not a wasted trip. It was just that they did not know what species took Little Tu away, and who was the person in Sima Yue's body. Aunt Feng, thank you. Sima Yue smiled gratefully at Feng Ruyen. Feng Ruyen looked at Sima Yue. Compared to a few years ago, she had improved a lot. It was beyond her expectations. Your improvement is very fast, but it's not enough. Continue to work hard. In the future, I will not sleep too deeply. After speaking, she returned to Yue's sea of consciousness. After Feng Ruyen left, her powerful aura dissipated in Yuan Xiaojie, and the rest could finally relax. Thinking that there was such a person in Sima Yue's body, everyone looked at her as if they were looking at a monster. I love my academy. Actively cooperate with the special action to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Thank you everyone. Chapter 732. Ahem, let's go back. Please search product #bookyennet to see the most complete. Sima Yue coughed twice and ignored their stares. Who is that ancestor phoenix? Fan Lei asked directly. Sima Yue shook her head and said, I don't know her identity either. I never asked. Then why did she leave behind a soul imprint? This is no ordinary protection. Because I saved her life before, but I wasn't fully healed, so she wants to save my life. Sima Yue said. Alright, if you're curious, you can ask later. Let's hurry back and treat their injuries. Su Jin said. Master, I'll leave Fatty to you. Sima Yue said. Just take care of yourself. Su Jin harumphed, agreeing to her request. Yuan Xiaojie brought Yue and Fatty back first. The rest of the people went back by themselves. Let's go back too. Tuoba Wuchen said. I really didn't expect her luck to be so good. His luck is better than ours. Feng Zhixing nodded in agreement and said, That's good. This way, the two of them can also. He didn't finish his sentence. Seeing him like this, Tuoba Wuchen sighed with heartache. When she recovers, I want to go back. Feng Zhixing suddenly said. What? You want to go back? Tuoba Wuchen was almost choked to death by his own saliva. His face was full of disbelief. You haven't gone back since that incident. They sent you so many messages but you ignored them. Why do you want to go back now? Because she will go there sooner or later, Feng Zhixing said. Sigh. Tuoba Wuchen sighed again. Back then, you left that place because of her mother's anger. And now you're going back because of her. It's not entirely because of her, Feng Zhixing said. Don't you think that what happened today was because we were too weak? Indeed, if it wasn't because we weren't strong enough, how could 100 or 200 forces force us to the point where we could only watch from the side? Tuoba Wuchen was also very emotional about today's events. Going back there can help us cultivate faster. Sai, since you've decided to go back, then I'll go back too. It won't be good if you throw it too far away. Feng Zhixing glanced at Tuoba Wuchen and said, The old man will be very happy. Don't talk about him in front of me. I feel stifled whenever I talk about him. Let's go back and check on her. Tuoba Wuchen sat on the flying beast and left first. The 10 villains also followed them back to Qingcheng. However, they did not go to see Sima Yue. Instead, they returned to their previous courtyard. It wasn't that the people from the Sky Heaven School didn't see them, but because Sima Yue said something before she left, they didn't have to fight. She said, These people are our mission. You old fellows shouldn't fight with us. When Feng Zhixing and the others arrived at Qingcheng, a few days had passed since that day. Sima Yue was more or less recovered. Fatty Chu needed more time to reconstruct his bones, so he was still resting in bed. Master, Uncle Wuchen. Sima Yue saw Feng Zhixing and Tuoba Wuchen, and obediently bowed. You're recovering quite quickly. Tuoba Wuchen saw that Sima Yue was fine and smiled. Yes, with Master Su here, I'm recovering quite well. Sima Yue said. We came to find you today to say goodbye. Feng Zhixing said. Master, are you going back? I'm not going back to the clan this time. I'm going to the inner regions. Feng Zhixing said. Going to the inner regions? Why is Master thinking of going to the inner regions? Sima Yue was astonished. If he went to the inner regions, wouldn't she not be able to see him for a while? I'm originally from the inner regions. Feng Zhixing said. Because of some matters, I left the inner regions. Now I've received news that I'm going back. Oh. Sima Yue lowered her head in disappointment and said, Master, you should go. When I'm stronger, I'll go and see you. All right. Feng Zhixing patted her head. You'll go to the inner regions. I'll wait for you there. However, before you reach the monarch rank, you can't go. Yes. Sima Yue nodded. Tuoba Wuchen saw the two of them reluctant to part, and suddenly felt a little sad. Although he lost to that person back then, his daughter's attachment to him should be able to make up for it. Master, are my parents also from the inner regions? Sima Yue asked. Your father is from the inner regions Sima family. Maybe you'll meet them later. Feng Zhixing said. Their clothes have the same pattern as your spatial ring. Sima Yue touched her spatial ring. She knew that it had something to do with her family. Then, Master, are the people from my father's family good? She asked again. If she asked them now, she would know how to get along with them if she met them in the future. They can be considered good. Feng Zhixing hesitated and said. However, it's not up to us to decide whether they're good or not. You have to find out for yourself. In the past, he thought that they were good, but that incident made him very disappointed in them. However, no matter what he thought, they were still her family. She had to make her own judgment. I understand. Sima Yue nodded. I'll see for myself. Based on her understanding of Feng Zhixing, there must be something that hurt him in the past. That was why he gave them such an evaluation. All right, we have to go. I'll leave some people for you. Feng Zhixing said. They're all my people. They don't belong to the Feng family. In the future, they'll be your people. You can let them do whatever you want. Bring them with you wherever you go. You offended so many powers that day. I'm not at ease when I leave. He blew the whistle. 10 people walked in from outside. Each of them had the strength of a monarch. Young master. The 10 people bowed to her. Swear. Feng Zhixing said lightly. However, there was a majesty in his words that couldn't be disobeyed. The 10 people knelt on one knee and put their hands on their chests. They said in unison, We're willing to follow young master. We'll recognize young master as our master. We'll protect young master and never betray you. As the oath fell, the silver light entered their chests. Before Sima Yue could stop them, they finished swearing. Now she had no choice but to bring them with her. Master. She was a little helpless. She wanted to say that she didn't need these people at all. If he wanted to go back to the inner region, shouldn't he bring more people back? I brought them out from the inner region. These years, they've been to many places with me. They're quite knowledgeable. Feng Zhixing said. If you have any questions in the future, you can ask them. After speaking, he said to the 10 people, You won't regret following her in the future. Zhixing, we should go. Otherwise, we won't be able to catch the ship. Tuoba Wuchen urged. Feng Zhixing nodded. He reached out and patted her head before leaving with Tuoba Wuchen. Chapter 733. After Feng Zhixing left, Sima Yue felt a little sad. Please search product % book Yin Yin Net to see the most complete. Update the fastest. She didn't know why, but every time she saw the sadness that Feng Zhixing showed to her from time to time, she felt sorry for him. Mississippi, one of them called out to Sima Yue. Ah. Oh. Sima Yue regained her senses and said, So, what are your names? The 10 of them reported their names, but Sima Yue was distracted and said, Since you are master's men, then you should be ranked according to your age. You will be called Feng Yi, Feng Er, Feng San. This isn't a name change, it's just a code name. Understand? Whatever Miss says. A square-faced man said. What's your ranking? Sima Yue asked. I'm the oldest. Feng Yi said. Oh, first wind. What do you guys usually do? Sima Yue asked. I followed young master everywhere. First wind replied. Sima Yue looked at the conversation that was like squeezing toothpaste and had a headache. However, she couldn't say anything about the people that were given to her by her master, and had even sworn an oath to her. She thought about it and said, although master gave you to me, I don't have anything for you to do. Go ahead and do your own things. Miss, we have to protect you, Feng Yi said. We have to stay by young Miss's side to ensure your safety, Feng Er said. Sima Yue rubbed her brows and said, I'm very safe here. You don't have to keep following me. I know that for people like you, time is precious to you. The 10 guards did not speak, but this did not mean that they agreed with her words, but it was a silent protest. Sima Yue was furious and asked with a sullen face, Whose guards are you now? It is the young ladies, answered the 10. Then you won't listen to me? Miss, it's not that we don't want to listen to you. Feng Wu said. That day, us brothers were also there and saw those things. What if someone comes looking for trouble, and we're not around? There are so many ifs. I'm here now, not out, Sima Yue said. Seeing that they were still insistent, she said, How about this, one of you can stay by my side at a time. I still have things to do. If you keep following us, I can't do anything. The wind ones were hesitant, but when they saw Sima Yue's darkening expression, they had no choice but to agree. All right then. Let's do as young Miss says. Feng Er said. But young Miss, one person is too few. If something happens, it will be too late. You have to bring at least 2 people with you. Sima Yue agreed in the end. Hence, when she did not go out in the future, there were 2 more guards by her side. These things should be of some help to your current cultivation. Take them. Sima Yue took out some spirit stones and pills, and gave them to First Wind. Young Miss, these things are too precious. You are my people now. You said that I have so many enemies. You have to increase your strength to be able to protect me, Sima Yue said. Take these things and stay in my courtyard. I have something to do now. Feng Er and I will follow young Mississippi. You can go find a room. First Wind took the things from Sima Yue and passed them to Third Wind. All right. Sima Yue brought her 2 tails out of her courtyard and turned a few corners to a courtyard not far away. This place was a local residence. Sima Yue did not know how Sujin and the rest got their hands on it. She had stayed here for so many days and did not see anyone else. She brought First Wind and Second Wind to Fatty Chu's room. For the convenience of treatment, he had placed him in Sujin's courtyard. She first saw Sujin chatting with 2 array masters in the courtyard. She went up and bowed to them, then asked, Master, how is Fatty? With me here, you're still worried that he won't get better? Sujin snorted. I'm not worried that he won't get better. I just want to ask him how much better he is. Sima Yue said. He'll be able to move in 2 days. He's still paralyzed. Sujin said. Since you're here, you can tell him not to move if he wants his body to recover. If he wants to be crippled in the future, then he can move as much as he wants. I'll definitely tell him. Sima Yue smiled and replied. Master, I'll go in and take a look at Fatty first. First Wind and Second Wind also wanted to go in, but she left them outside. After Sima Yue went in, Sujin looked at First Wind and the rest, saying, Big Wei, Little Wei, are they the Feng family's shadow guards? Big Wei and Little Wei, who were the 2 array masters, looked at the 2 of them carefully and said, They should be. I say, why aren't you staying in the Feng family? Why are you following my little disciple? Our current master is young Mississippi. First Wind replied faintly. Following my little disciple? Sujin raised his eyebrows. First Wind nodded. Feng Zhixing is really willing. Sujin sighed. I never thought that I would have a common disciple with him one day. Your disciple's luck is really not bad, Big Wei said. What? Do you really think that my little disciple learned your so-called true teachings? There are many ways to arrange the dragon trapping array. Her method is the simplest, but the effect is the best. This method has already been lost in our sect. If she doesn't have it, then how did she get it? Maybe she just happened to learn it. Or maybe Feng Zhixing taught her. Su Jin said, I know that my little disciple's talent is very good. Many people have their eyes on her, but don't even think about it. Old Su, you can't be like this. Little Wei said. How am I like this? Su Jin said. Don't think that I don't know your sex style. It's fine if it's others, but my disciple isn't a normal person. If you want to use force, think about the spirit imprint in her body. We don't mean that. Big Wei said. Then what do you mean? Su Jin said. You two can't mean anything. Once the time is up, you two should hurry back to your place. Old Su, my little disciple is still young. If you want to have any ideas on her, wait a few years. Su Jin waved his hand and stopped discussing this matter. When Sima Yue came out, she saw that the atmosphere between Su Jin and them was a bit strange. Finished looking? Su Jin asked. He didn't plan on telling them what happened just now. Finished looking, Sima Yue said. Fatty is recovering very well. Many thanks to Master. You should properly thank me, Su Jin said. In order to treat him, I spent a lot of good things. When we get back, I'll slowly pay you back. Sima Yue smiled. All right. I have something to do with Rainbow. I'll leave first. Go. Su Jin waved at her. Oh right, little Seven should be back soon. Hearing him mention it, Sima Yue realized that she had forgotten about little Seven. Chapter 734. Sima Yue sensed the situation in the spirit pagoda and realized that little Seven had turned into a milky white ball of flesh. It was piled up like a small mountain in the spirit pagoda. There was a thin layer of mist on the outside of the small meatball, making it impossible to see what was going on inside. Is she evolving? Sima Yue was secretly shocked, but her face remained expressionless. She bowed to Su Jin and turned to leave. Since she was evolving, he would not disturb her. She brought Feng 1 and Feng 2 to Rainbow's courtyard. Big brother, you've finally recovered. Rainbow was currently discussing something with Lu Fei. When she saw that Sima Yue had arrived, she ran over happily. Sima Yue pulled Rainbow over. Lu Fei and the old woman stood up and nodded at her. Sima Yue remembered that this old woman used to speak in a high and mighty manner. Now her attitude towards her was quite good. She probably knew Little Rock's identity and had restrained herself. Big brother, these days your master has been protecting you very tightly, not letting us go see you. Rainbow complained. Didn't I come to see you after I recovered? Sima Yue sat down. Lu Fei walked in front of Sima Yue and bowed deeply, saying, Lu Fei has offended you that day. Please forgive me, your majesty. Sima Yue called Little Rock out. When Little Rock saw Lu Fei, his face darkened. You, Little Rock, the ignorant are not guilty. Sima Yue interrupted Little Rock. Little Rock glared at Lu Fei. The golden-winged rock's aura pressed down on Lu Fei. Although Lu Fei didn't kneel, blood still flowed from the corner of his mouth. Uncle. Rainbow saw Lu Fei vomit blood and called out worriedly. She looked at Little Rock pleadingly. Little Rock saw that Rainbow was worried and retracted his aura, saying, I'll let you off this time on Rainbow's account. If you dare to offend me again, I won't let you off so easily. Thank you, big brother Little Peng. Rainbow smiled gratefully at Little Peng. I haven't had the chance to take a good look at Rainbow. It's only been a few years, and you've already grown so big. Little Rock stepped forward and patted Rainbow's head. He smiled and said, Rainbow, we haven't seen each other in so many years. Did you miss us? I really do, Rainbow said. Do you miss us or Chongming? Sima Yue asked with a smile. Big brother, you're making fun of me. Rainbow's face turned red as she said shyly, Chongming, your wife is here. Come out and catch up with her. Sima Yue smiled and called Chongming out. After these days of recuperation, his injuries had recovered a lot. Chongming was also very happy to see Rainbow. That day, he personally sent her to the Taowu clan. At that time she was still a little chick. He had watched her birth, lived with her for so long, and sent her away personally. After being separated for so many years, he really missed her. But it wasn't like what Yue thought. Chongming-gij. Rainbow came in front of Chongming and felt that his breathing was unstable. She cried out in shock. Chongming-gij, you're injured? That day, we were surrounded by so many people. I used the dragon trapping array to trap them all. When I was setting up the array, I had Chongming by me some time. Sima Yue said. Chongming used the spatial distortion technique, but because of that he injured his body. Big brother Chongming, how are you now? Rainbow asked worriedly. I'm fine now, Chongming said. Really? Rainbow didn't believe him. Of course it's true. Chongming didn't want to talk about his injuries, so he changed the topic. How have you been in the Tao clan all these years? I'm very good. Uncle treats me very well too, Rainbow said, and because of me Uncle ended up like this. It's all my fault. If not for me, Uncle wouldn't have been contracted by others. Little Kai, I already said that I was careless. I don't blame you. Don't blame yourself, Lu Fei said. That's right, Lei Feng. This matter isn't your fault. Grandmother Zhu also consoled. But Uncle ended up like this because he wanted to find medicine for me. How can you not blame me? Rainbow said sadly. Before she went back, Uncle was so prestigious in the Phoenix clan. But now he didn't dare to see those people from the past. Is that person all right? Sima Yue asked. He's not dead yet, Rainbow said. For Lu Fei's little life, they couldn't let him die. AI, as Rainbow's brother and Little Rock's contracted master, I can help you think of a way to break the contract, Sima Yue said. But the process will be very painful. You will also be injured. It will probably take 1 or 2 years to recover. Are you willing? Is there really such a way? Rainbow's eyes shone. If there really was a way to break the contract, then Uncle wouldn't have to look at those people's faces anymore. If I say there is, then there is. Did you forget that I am a very powerful beast tamer? Sima Yue said. That's right. Brother is a beast tamer. Since you know how to tame beasts, then you should know how to break the contract, Rainbow said. Uncle, what do you think? When Lu Fei heard Sima Yue say that she had a way, he didn't believe it. But when he heard that she was a beast tamer, his eyes lit up with hope. No matter how painful it is, I can endure it. He clenched his fist and said. If it wasn't for little Kai, I would have killed myself long ago. A person who isn't even afraid of death, why would he be afraid of pain? Brother, what method do you have? Rainbow asked. Reverse the Imperial Beast art. Force the contract runes out of the contract and forcefully break the contract, Sima Yue said. That's it. Although it sounds simple, but it goes against the heavens. The process is obvious. Sima Yue said, but I believe in your Bai and clan's perseverance. Chapter 735. 2 days later, Sima Yue came to Rainbow's courtyard again. Brother, I didn't beat him up this time. He's fine now. Rainbow giggled. You can kill him after the contract is broken, Sima Yue said affectionately. And that's what I'm planning to do. Rainbow said. He actually used such a despicable method to contract my uncle. I definitely can't let him off. I want to use its blood to wash away my uncle's shame. You can do whatever you want, Sima Yue said. Lu Fei and Grandmother Zhu bowed to Sima Yue when they saw her. Are you ready? Sima Yue asked Lu Fei. I'm ready. Lu Fei nodded. Then let's begin. Go out and don't let anyone disturb us, Sima Yue ordered. Rainbow and the rest did not dare to disobey. They all went out and stood guard outside the door. Sima Yue set up a spirit barrier to seal off the entire house. This way, ordinary movements would not disturb them. You sit opposite him. Lu Fei walked over and sat down in front of the man. He looked at the man who was in a daze after taking Sima Yue's medicine. Sima Yue sat beside them and said, Let me tell you again. The process will be very painful. You have to hold on, or else both of you will die. Lu Fei nodded. She took out 2 more pills and said, Keep these in your mouth. If you can't take it anymore, take one. Lu Fei took the pill and put it in his mouth. Sima Yue grabbed both of their hands and started to activate the taming beast art. However, this time, it was the other way around. Lu Fei felt a ferocious aura entering his body, tearing his insides apart. Then the aura entered his brain, making him feel as if his head was about to explode. The pain was unbearable. Outside the room, Rainbow and Grandma Zhu were anxiously waiting. They felt that every minute was unbearable. Chongming Gij, can Gij do it? Kaihong grabbed Chongming's hand, trying to find support in her heart. Chongming felt that Kaihong had been led astray by them. According to seniority, she should call him uncle, but she always called him brother. 2 days ago, he had tried to correct her. In the end, Rainbow had directly said, "If you don't let me call you brother, then I'll call you hubby." Even at his age, he still blushed. "Don't worry, Yu has never done anything she isn't confident in. If she says she can, then there's no problem," he comforted her. "I also know Big Brother's personality, but in my heart, I also feel that to dissolve the contract is to go against the will of the heavens. How can it be so easy? Whether it's uncle or brother, I don't want anything to happen to them," Rainbow said. "Don't worry." Chongming lowered his head and glanced at her hand that was grabbing him. He sighed in his heart. He didn't know whether to pull away or not. Feng Yi and Feng Er were listening to their conversation from behind. There was only one thought in their minds. This master was indeed not an ordinary person. She even dared to do something that defied the heavens. Such a domineering child. Perhaps if they followed her, they would really see a different world. Time passed by minute. After half a day, there was still no movement inside. Rainbow and the others were waiting anxiously outside. Suddenly, a burst of light came from the house. Following that, dark clouds quickly gathered in the sky and locked onto their house. Tribulation cloud. Everyone in the courtyard was alarmed. Su Jin and the others flew into the sky and saw a small dark cloud hovering above the roof. Although the range wasn't very large, it contained a terrifying power. Because it wasn't a lightning tribulation, the tribulation cloud didn't lock onto anyone else. It was just above Sima Yue and the others. "What's going on?" Yuan Xiaojie flew over and asked. Rainbow and the others didn't think that they would attract such a terrifying lightning tribulation. They were stunned for a moment. Hearing Yuan Xiaojie and the others' words, they came back to their senses and replied, "Big Brother is dissolving the contract for Uncle." Dissolving the contract. Those old fellows all cried out. "This contract can be dispelled? Isn't this going against the will of the heavens?" De Wei cried out. "That's why this appeared." Su Jin looked at the tribulation cloud and said, "Lightning tribulation of the heavens." This was much more powerful than the average lightning tribulation. Once this contract is established, the heavens and earth cannot go against it. How can he dispel the contract? Little Wei asked. Big Brother is a beast tamer master. He said that by going against the will of the beast taming method, he can dispel the contract. Rainbow said. "He's a beast tamer master?" Everyone present cried out. Each and every one of them had a face full of shock. The 10 great villains who had just rushed over after hearing the commotion almost fell from the sky. This guy was a beast tamer master? Did he have to be so scary? How many secrets did this guy have? They really wanted to dig them all out for him so that he wouldn't scare them from time to time. Alchemist, Array Master, Beast Tamer Master, Doctor, Divine Devil Valley's Junior Valley Master, Sujin's disciple, Feng Clan's young master's disciple. His relationship with the Tuoba clan wasn't shallow. He had a mind all by himself. Rainbow saw that they were so shocked. Only then did he know that they didn't know Yoyue's identity as a beast tamer master. If he said that, it would expose her identity. The old fellows of the Sky Heaven School were silent after their shock. Such a genius student didn't show off. Instead, she had been hiding. It had been a long time since they met such a student in the school. Since they met her, no matter what, they had to ensure her safety. Sima Yue felt the situation outside. She also knew that the lightning tribulation was eyeing them covetously. However, she didn't panic. She passed a message to Chongming and continued. Chongming received Sima Yue's instructions. He went forward and said to Big Wei and Little Wei, You would like to invite the two masters to set up more than one lightning defense array. She needs some time. Big Wei and Little Wei looked at each other and nodded. Okay. The two of them took out the array stones and observed the situation of the house. At the same time, they struck the array stones down. The array was activated. Sima Yue felt that the aura of the tribulation cloud had weakened. She was relieved. Today's matter was due to her negligence. She didn't consider the lightning tribulation because she didn't prepare in advance. However, it wasn't as if there was no solution. She just had to move the person into the spirit pagoda the moment the lightning tribulation fell. But now that there was someone helping her, she could avoid this. She used the taming beast art to find the contract symbol. She wrapped it up and cut off the connection between it and Lu Fei. Then she guided it bit by bit towards Lu Fei's body. They had been in a deadlock for a long time. The contract symbol no longer had any resistance and obediently followed her outside. Silver light overflowed from Lu Fei's brain. It became brighter and brighter. Then the contract symbol slowly moved out from between his eyebrows. Pa-dash, the lightning tribulation struck the spell formation as soon as the runes moved outwards, scaring everyone in Qingcheng. Chapter 145. After settling the family matters, Sima Yue went to school. She had not graduated yet, and the principal knew that he had given her some time off. Seeing that the Sima family was on the right track, she went back to continue her studies. In fact, for the current her, there wasn't much she could learn here, but she didn't want to give up halfway. The Sima family also needed her attention, so she didn't plan to leave for the time being. When he returned to the dormitory, Wei Ziqi and the others had already gone to class. There was not a single person in the dormitory. Thinking back to the last time he was here, he was still a young master who did not need to consider anything. The next time he was here, he had already become the head of the family. I'm sure no one has ever seen the head of the household come to school. After tidying up the house, it was already noon. Remembering that she hadn't eaten for a long time, she also wanted to thank everyone for their concern and help during this period of time. So she went to the kitchen to cook a few dishes. I knew it. Just by smelling this fragrance, I knew that Yue had returned. Fatty Chu's voice could be heard even before he arrived. His nose had always been very sensitive when it came to food. The four of them went to the kitchen and saw Sima Yue sitting at the table waiting for them. They walked over and sat down to eat. Have you settled the matter? Wei Ziqi asked. Everything is almost on track. The rest will need to be done slowly. Sima Yue said that the most important thing now was to tame the hundreds of spirit beasts. However, the spirit beasts had not arrived yet, so she did not have to rush. The speed at which your house was being built really blinded our eyes. We haven't gone out for a few days, and when we went out yesterday, we discovered that your house had already been built. Fatty Chu picked up a piece of meat and placed it in his mouth as he spoke. Let's not talk about you guys. Even I was shocked. Sima Yue said. I went into seclusion for a few days. When I came out, I saw that the flat ground had turned into a courtyard. It was horrifying. I didn't know that houses could be repaired so quickly. I heard that it was because there were many people working together. That's why it was so fast. Wei Ziqi said. This is also good. You've recruited so many new people, so you need a place to make arrangements. Yes. Sima Yue nodded and asked, How have you been? The academy is pretty much the same as before, but now when we walk in the academy, we often meet some girls who come looking for us. Extremely annoying. Wei Ziqi said. Why? Sima Yue blinked. Could it be that both of you are in love? Did someone confess to you? It's not that our peach blossoms have blossomed, it's your peach blossoms that have blossomed. No one has ever dared to shout at a tribulation cloud. No one has ever dared to go inside a tribulation cloud. Sima Yue flew into the tribulation cloud and saw that there were electric currents flowing everywhere, making sizzling sounds. Human, how dare you come here? The cloud spirit cursed, but its soft voice didn't have the slightest lethality. Little tribulation cloud, where are you? Sima Yue called out softly. She really looked like a wolf trying to coax a child. I'm going to hack you to death. The little tribulation cloud didn't come out and said angrily. Two huge lightning bolts struck towards Sima Yue. Other than her body feeling numb, she didn't feel anything else. Seems like my defense against lightning has increased after I was struck last time. Sima Yue thought proudly. The top-grade purple heavenly lightning in the lightning pool rolled its eyes. That was because it had become stronger. Otherwise, she would have been struck to death by such a terrifying heaven-defying lightning tribulation. Little tribulation cloud, we've met so many times and can be considered old friends. Come out and meet me. I have something nice to eat. Sima Yue didn't know what the top-grade purple heavenly lightning was thinking, and continued to entice it. I'm not going to eat. A transparent palm-sized rabbit appeared on the tribulation cloud. It looked at Sima Yue with its red eyes and complained. Why was she so pitiful? No matter what, it couldn't hack her to death. Sima Yue didn't expect the cloud spirit of the tribulation cloud to look like this. How was this the lightning tribulation that controlled the heavenly punishment? It should be Meng Meng's pet. Little tribulation cloud, it's useless for you to look at me like this. Your lightning is useless against me. She giggled. It's not useless against you. If it wasn't for the top-grade purple heavenly lightning in your body, you would have been struck to death by me. I didn't expect it to grow so fast. Even the heaven-defying lightning tribulation can't do anything to it. The cloud spirit snorted. Even the top-grade purple heavenly lightning can grow? Sima Yue was a little surprised. Of course it can. Otherwise, how could you become more and more immune to lightning? The cloud spirit said. Then is it like you? Sima Yue asked. It's not as cute as me. The cloud spirit said narcissistically. I'm the cutest lightning tribulation. Sima Yue closed her eyes and sensed for a while. Indeed, she saw a small figure swimming in the lightning pool. The figure didn't seem to have taken shape yet. It was just a blurry shadow. That shadow felt Sima Yue's gaze and made a strange face at her. It seemed to be despising her for not realizing that it had been in her body for so long. Sima Yue felt that this fellow should be making a face at her, although she didn't have a face yet. Thinking about the process of her obtaining her own lightning, she asked the cloud spirit doubtfully. Isn't this top-grade purple heavenly lightning yours? How did it take shape on its own? How can the top-grade purple heavenly lightning be mine? If it was mine, I would have swallowed it. The cloud spirit was a little disappointed. I've used the top-grade purple heavenly lightning before, but no one survived. I guess it's because you didn't die and absorbed it that this fellow took shape. There should be a lot of people in charge of the tribulation cloud, right? Sima Yue suddenly asked. There aren't many. Anyway, this area is my territory. If anyone dares to disrespect me, I'll strike them to death. The cloud spirit said. Suddenly, it thought of the person in front of it. It didn't die even after striking her so many times. It was very discouraged. Sima Yue looked at it and smiled. It's good that you didn't strike me to death. Look, you didn't strike me to death. Didn't I discover your existence? We can be friends in the future. I don't want to be friends with you. The cloud spirit snorted. If it became friends with a person who couldn't be struck to death, how could it survive in the future? If you don't want to be friends with me, then I'll be friends with you, Sima Yue said. Since we're friends, then I have to treat you to good food. What do you think? What do you like? She took out a bunch of things and put them on the tribulation cloud. They didn't fall down. The cloud spirit was very disdainful at first, but those things were very fragrant. Especially one kind of fragrance made it drool. She looked at those things arrogantly, then turned her head to the side and said, What are these? I won't eat your things. Sima Yue saw that although she said no, her small eyes kept glancing at the wine jar. She secretly laughed. Chapter 737. She unsealed the wine jar, and an even richer fragrance wafted out. The little tribulation cloud tried to resist, but it still couldn't resist the temptation. It ran over, hugged the wine jar, and took a deep breath before asking, What is this? Wine. The small tribulation cloud exclaimed and threw the wine jug away. The wine jug landed on the black cloud, and the wine spilled out. An even richer fragrance floated out. No, I don't want this. Take it away. Sima Yue looked at its agitated face. It was fine before. Why did it have such a big reaction all of a sudden? You don't like this? She asked curiously. I don't like it, I don't like it. This thing can't be touched. The little tribulation cloud said. Why? Last time, there was an older brother who got some wine from somewhere and ended up getting drunk. He fainted for 3 years and was punished for delaying matters. In the end, he vanished into thin air. The little tribulation cloud continuously bit its head. What? There was actually such a thing? Sima Yue's mouth was slightly agape in shock. She saw that the little calamity cloud was avoiding it like a snake, but its eyes were filled with reluctance. She said, "This is fruit wine, it's not intoxicating. If you're really afraid of getting drunk, you can take one of these pills first. Then you won't get drunk at all." What kind of pill is this? The minor tribulation cloud had seen many pills before, but it had never seen anything like this. This is a pill specially prepared for people who drink alcohol to sober up. As long as you eat this before drinking, you won't get drunk no matter how much you drink. Sima Yue explained. Really? The little tribulation cloud didn't believe it. If I lie to you, you can strike me every day, Sima Yue said. She had concocted this pill for Third Mo, so that he could enjoy other fine wines without getting drunk. The small tribulation cloud tried to endure it, but it couldn't resist the fragrance of the wine, so it slowly moved closer. Sima Yue fed it a pill, and the little calamity cloud swallowed it. Then it tried to take a sip of wine. When it didn't feel any discomfort, it happily hugged the wine jar and drank. What do you think? I didn't lie to you, right? Sima Yue took out a jar of wine. Little calamity cloud nodded happily. Its dissatisfaction with Sima Yue had been resolved by this fine wine. Soon it finished the jar of wine. Perhaps it was because the alcohol content was too low or because it had eaten the pill, but it didn't have any reaction at all. It's delicious. Do you have more? The little tribulation cloud hugged the empty wine jar and looked at her. Yes. Sima Yue took out another jar for it, and it finished it in no time. The more she drank, the more excited she became. After drinking 4 jars in a row, Sima Yue did not give her any more. Is there more? I haven't had enough yet. The little tribulation cloud urged. Little calamity cloud, do you know that to us humans, this wine is not to be drunk casually? Sima Yue said solemnly. Then how can I drink it? The little tribulation cloud asked. We use this wine to entertain our friends. Sima Yue said. You wanted to strike me before. You big baddie. You used wine to threaten me. Although the little tribulation cloud was innocent, it wasn't stupid. The moment Sima Yue said that, it immediately reacted. That's right. I was threatening you. Sima Yue did not deny it. Then will you accept my threat? I'm a very unyielding tribulation cloud. I won't accept your threat. The little tribulation cloud turned its little head to the side and did not look at her. Really? Of course. The little tribulation cloud said with certainty. All right then. Sima Yue kept the jar of wine that she had just taken out, saying, Since you're such an unyielding tribulation cloud, then you definitely don't want to drink this wine. Sigh, I'll go back down and wait for you to strike me before leaving. With that, she stood up and looked like she was about to leave. Well, what you baddie? Big baddie. The little tribulation cloud immediately jumped up and rushed into Sima Yue's embrace. Instantly, several lightning bolts struck over. After the little tribulation cloud snatched the jar of wine, it continued to shout, You're too bad. Too bad. Baddie. Sima Yue stood on top of the tribulation cloud. The jar of wine in her embrace had been snatched away and her body was numb from the lightning bolts. That little fellow was still there calling her a baddie. She suddenly wanted to ask, who exactly was the baddie? After the little tribulation cloud finished the jar of wine, the numb feeling finally passed. She moved her body and said, If you strike me to death, you won't be able to drink this wine anymore. The little tribulation cloud narrowed its eyes and thought for a moment. It seemed like it had struck her a little too hard just now. However, she had the top-grade purple lightning in her body. It couldn't strike her to death. At most, it could only strike her until she was half crippled. If you give me the wine and the pill to sober me up, I won't strike you today. Otherwise, I'll strike you with a few more lightning bolts. When Sima Yue heard this, she couldn't help but laugh. Wasn't she the one who was luring it? Why was it the other way around? However, no matter who was threatening who or lying to who, the result was the same. She gave it the wine, so it wouldn't strike her. Sima Yue took out several jars of fruit wine. The little tribulation cloud shook its short tail, and the tribulation cloud wrapped up all the wine. I can let you off today, but don't call me next time, the little tribulation cloud said. It's not that I'm scolding you, but can't you stop for a bit? You're the person I've struck the most times. You're also the person I struck the most. If not for the top-grade purple lightning, who knows how many times you'd have died. I didn't want to either, Sima Yue said. No matter which time it was, she wasn't the one who wanted to be struck. Wasn't there always a reason for it? Haha, the next time I see you, even if there's so much wine, I won't go easy on you. The little tribulation cloud once again became that stubborn little tribulation cloud. We're already friends. Friends should help each other, understand? Sima Yue said. Haha. The little tribulation cloud snorted twice. It didn't confirm or deny. Alright, I'm going back. Don't strike me again. I've been feeling a little scared when I see you recently, Sima Yue said. I don't want to see you either, the little tribulation cloud said. Although the two of us are doing that now, I can't completely go easy on you. The lightning bolts at the back still have to strike, but I can control it to make it less powerful. Sima Yue thought that it wasn't a bad idea. She nodded her head and flew down. When she returned to the roof, the tribulation cloud struck a few more times. Then it patted its butt and left. As for those few strikes, other than eating the top-grade purple lightning in the lightning pool as snacks, it didn't do much harm to her. Yue, what did you do in the tribulation cloud? Isn't the lightning tribulation getting stronger the further it goes? Why do I feel that the last few strikes aren't as strong as the first? Fatty Chu asked what everyone was thinking. Chapter 738. The following is provided for you, 738. Please enjoy. Sima Yue blinked her eyes innocently and asked, Really? You must have seen wrongly. I saw wrongly? How is that possible? Fatty Chu was not stupid. How could he not be able to tell? Sima Yue ignored him and ate the pill, saying, I still need to check on Uncle Caihong's condition. Are you guys still going to stay here? Cough cough, let's go take a look too, Yuan Xiaojie said. They had never seen a spirit beast breaking a contract with its master before. Yue could not reject the dean's request. The dean can come, the rest of you don't have to go, it's too crowded. She returned to the house after speaking. Lu Fei was still waiting for her downstairs. Just as she said, breaking a contract was very harmful to the body. If she had not persuaded the tribulation cloud away, he would not have been able to withstand it. Seeing Sima Yue enter, Lu Fei raised his head with difficulty and said weakly, Thank you. Thank you for breaking the contract for me. Thank you for helping me withstand the tribulation cloud. I did it for Caihong, Sima Yue said. She asked Chongming to help him up, then helped him to the bed in the house to sleep. She had poked a hole in the hall, and now he could see the sky when he raised his head. Sima Yue walked over and fed him a pill, saying, If you return to your original form, it will help with your injuries. Lu Fei nodded, and with a flash of white light, the handsome young man turned into a dispirited little bird. When Yuan Xiaojie and the rest saw Lu Fei, they really believed that Sima Yue had broken his contract. Seeing that Sima Yue was going to treat his injuries, they left together. Sima Yue waited for them to leave, then took out the soul fluid and fed it to Lu Fei. After eating this pill and drinking this, you will sleep well for 10 days to half a month. When you wake up, although you will not fully recover, you will still be able to move. It's just that your powers were slightly damaged, but you'll recover in 2 years, Sima Yue said. Lu Fei felt that his eyelids were getting heavier and heavier. and his consciousness was getting fainter and fainter. Soon he fell into a deep sleep. Grandmother Zhu came in from outside and saw that Lu Fei was already asleep. She asked, "How is the king?" "I've already fallen asleep after eating the pill that Big Brother gave me. Big Brother said that I'll be fine after sleeping for 10 days to half a month." Rainbow said. "King?" Sima Yue heard Grandmother Zhu call Lu Fei and looked at Rainbow in surprise. "Uncle is the king of the Baiyan clan, don't you know?" Rainbow asked. Sima Yue shook her head and said, "You didn't tell me, and I didn't hear you call him that. The king of the Swanee clan was actually contracted by a human. No wonder he was in so much pain." Every race had their own pride, especially the royal races. The Swanee race was more arrogant than the average race. As the Swanee king, Lu Fei's pride went without saying. She gave Rainbow a bottle of soul fluid and said, "This is what you ate when you were young. Feed him 3 drops every 5 days. No more than that." Rainbow took the soul fluid and nodded. "Thank you, Big Brother. You should recuperate well too. You've been struck so many times today, you must be injured." Rainbow said. Sima Yue was indeed feeling a little unwell. After giving Rainbow the soul fluid, she went out. Feng Yi and Feng Er were waiting for her outside. When they saw her come out, they asked, "Young master, how are you?" "I'm fine. This lightning tribulation is the thing that I'm least afraid of now," Sima Yue said. "But this time I was struck a little too hard. It still hurts a little. Sigh, I'll be fine after some rest." The reason why Feng 1 and Feng 2 were chosen to protect her was naturally because they had always been steady, meticulous, and strong. But even they were speechless when they saw her like this. "Young master, you're really funny. You're still jumping around after being struck by lightning. You even said that it hurts a little, and you'll be fine after some rest. I wonder if those people who were struck to death by lightning in the dark forest will crawl back up to take revenge on you." The 10 great evils went back with complicated feelings. These few days, she gave them too much of a shock. They felt that she had really given them a lot of face by coming to find them. "Big Brother, maybe if we follow this kind of person, we can really have a different future," Shurchen said faintly. Fengji nodded. He didn't say anything, but his thoughts were the same. "I really want to discuss a raise with him," Hongwu said. "I want to ask him about alchemy," Kongren said. "He really is a strange person," Feng Kai said. "So you're saying that everyone agrees?" Feng Ji asked. Seeing everyone nod, he asked again. "But what he means is that he wants us to acknowledge him as our master. For someone like him, if we really acknowledge him as our master, there shouldn't be any problems. I see that he treats the people around him very well." Dai thought better of it. "I think that in the future, he will stand at a height that will make people feel proud to acknowledge him as their master," Shurchen said as he coughed. "Maybe, I won't be able to see that day." "Third brother, don't let your imagination run wild. The pill he gave you made your condition really good for these 3 months. He said it so confidently before. I think he can definitely cure you," Anayani said. Shurchen coughed for a while before stopping. "Third brother, you haven't coughed recently. Why are you coughing again today? Let me take a look." Kongren walked over and grabbed his hand to check. "10th brother. How is third brother?" Yusi asked. "Third brother's condition has worsened," Kongren said. Originally, the effect of this pill was 3 months. However, third brother used too much spirit energy in the dark forest and accelerated the deterioration of his condition. Last time in the dark forest, they were chased by many people before they reached the center. There were a few times when Shurchen even made a move. There was one time when the situation was especially dangerous. In order to save Anayani and Kongrun who were surrounded, he did use a more difficult move. Then what do we do now? Anayani also thought about how Shurchen saved him. He felt extremely guilty and his face was almost twisted into a ball. "Even if you ask me, I don't know," Kongrun said. "Maybe we can only go look for him. Since we've already decided to follow him, let's go look for him. He should be able to treat third brother," Hongwu said. "We can't find any other doctors now. Although that Su Jin is here, it's good that he didn't kill us when he saw us. We can't expect him to treat third brother. We can only go look for him. Let's go now. And I supported Shurchin and was about to go look for Sima Yue. Sixth brother, don't be anxious. Shurchin pulled him back. She just went through the lightning tribulation today and is still injured. It's no use even if you go look for her. I won't die in a day or two. Let's go in a few days. I love my academy. Actively cooperate with this special action to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Thank you everyone. Chapter 739. The following is provided for you. 739. Please enjoy. Shurchun insisted, so they couldn't say anything and could only agree. They supported him back to his residence, thinking that they would go find Sima Yue in 2 days. But before they could find her, she had already come to their door. Sima Yue had more or less recovered from her injuries in the past 2 days. Su Jin came to find her and said that they were going back to the academy. The previous incident had caused quite a stir in the continent, and the academy couldn't handle it anymore. They had to go back and intimidate those powers. Humph, at most we'll issue the Purple Cloud Order, and let them know that the academy is not to be trifled with. Su Jin harumphed before he left. He asked her if she wanted to go back with them. After all, the continent wasn't safe now and many people were chasing after her. She shook her head and rejected his suggestion. At that time, we were all wearing masks and there weren't many who survived. Those who know what I look like are even fewer. We still have a mission to complete, so we won't go back with you. You guys are a bunch of people who aren't afraid of anything. But with that ancestor Feng around, normal people can't hurt you. Alright, you can arrange it yourself. Su Jin said. That's right, after little Seven's condition stabilizes, let her tell old Yuan that she's safe. Also, don't forget about the billboard in half a year. You guys only have 3 months outside. You and your little friends are going to participate, right? Don't miss the time. I know. Sima Yue replied. She now felt that this Su Jin was quite long-winded. Su Jin wanted to say something, but he swallowed his words and finally said, Your senior brothers and sisters miss you. Go back early. Sima Yue nodded and watched him leave. She felt that his expression was a bit strange. But since he didn't say anything, she didn't ask. When the people from the academy left, Fatty Chu and the others felt the pressure on them disappear, and they cheered in their hearts. When those old fellows couldn't find Sima Yue, they would often find them to ask. Some things weren't easy for them to say, so they could only beat around the bush. But this was really tiring. Now that they were finally gone, they were free again. Sima Yue told them not to go out alone because Qingqing had not been peaceful recently. Many people had come because of what had happened in the past. News of what happened that day had spread throughout the inner and outer regions. Even some people in the inner regions had caught wind of it. Many people were curious about her, while others were gnashing their teeth in hatred. Some of the forces that had lost their experts back then chose to let the matter slide, while others strongly declared that they would hunt down Sima Yue and the others. They even offered a high reward and a bounty for their heads. Sima Yue was not surprised when she heard the news. She knew very well what kind of people those forces were. They never felt that these things were their own fault. It was all someone else's fault. When they said that she killed their masters, they didn't think that they were the ones who sent people to snatch little Tu and kill her first. In modern terms, they were a bunch of old weirdos, the best of the best. She warned Fatty and the others, then brought Shiman Feng, Feng 1 and Feng 2 out. UC and the others were discussing matters in the hall, when they heard a knock on the door. And said, Could it be that Sima Yue is here? It can't be. Didn't she just get struck by lightning 2 days ago? Dai was uncertain. Could it be the people who are hunting us down? Kongren said. Are there such polite hunters? Feng Kai said, Sixth brother, open the door. Oh. And stood up and opened the door. When he saw Sima Yue and the others standing outside, his face flashed with joy. It's really you guys. Why were you waiting for us? Sima Yue asked. Yes. Please come in. Everyone is in the hall. And opened the door and let them in. Sima Yue went to the hall. When she was still in the courtyard, Feng Ji and the others came out. They cupped their hands and bowed to her, saying, "Please." Sima Yue went in and sat on the main seat with Shimin Feng. When she saw Feng Ji and the others looking at Feng 1 and Feng 2, she smiled and explained, "They are the guards my master Feng gave me. They are now my people." "You really need some experts by your side now," Shi Chen said. Sima Yue looked at him and frowned slightly, saying, "There's still so much time before the 3-month deadline. Why did you relapse?" Third brother used his spirit energy in the dark forest, so his condition worsened. Anayani explained, "You can use your spirit energy after eating the pill I gave you." Sima Yue said, "Let me check you first." She walked over and Yusi gave her a seat. After she sat down, she checked his pulse. "How is my third brother?" Yusi asked. Sima Yue's face darkened. She did not answer Yusi's question and only stared at Shi Chen. Cough cough. Shi Chen, who was always steady and wise, felt guilty under her stare. "Yue, say something. How is third brother?" Dai Yi's temper was more impatient. Seeing that she did not speak, he urged her. "What else can he do?" Sima Yue retracted her hand, saying, "If he doesn't want to live, I can't save him." "Doesn't want to live?" Anayani shouted. "Why would third brother not want to live?" "You can't treat him?" Kong Ren asked anxiously. Sima Yue looked at the few people who were about to go crazy and sighed, saying, "I didn't say that he wanted to die. Why are you guys so anxious?" "Then if you say that third brother wants to die, you can't do anything about it," Anayani said. "Because he's looking for death." Sima Yue said, "He ate the pill, so there's no problem with using his spiritual energy. But he hasn't been completely cured yet he dared to use all of his spiritual energy. If this isn't looking for death, what is? Completely used up. Third brother, how could you? I can't just watch something happen to you and 10th brother. If it's true, then it's my fate." Anayani and Kong Ren's eyes turned red. Sima Yue did not need to look to know what was going on. She thought that this guy was quite sentimental. "What fate? With me here, even if it's your fate, I can change it for you," she said confidently. Everyone present was shocked by her words. Thinking about how she could say such harsh words to the lightning tribulation, there was nothing special about what she said. "So you're saying that third brother can still be saved?" Anayani asked happily. "Nonsense." Sima Yue glared at him. He doubted her medical skills. She would deal with him later. She called Little Roar out. Once Little Roar was outside, he shook his head coquettishly and said, "Yu, did you call me out because you missed me?" Sima Yue laughed sinisterly. "That's right, I missed you. There's something I need your help with." Little Roar saw her smile, and a bad premonition arose in his heart. "I love my academy. Actively cooperate with the campaign to combat obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Thank you, everyone." Chapter 740. The following is provided for you. 740. Please enjoy. No. Not waiting for Sima Yue to finish her sentence, Little Roar scampered away. However, before he could run 2 centimeters, he was caught by Sima Yue. No, you're a bad person." Little Roar struggled in Sima Yue's hands. His 4 short legs kept waving in the air, looking very comical. "Fenger, save me. Yu wants to trick me." Sima Yue used her other hand to flick his head, saying, "Yes, I want to trick you. What do you want?" "Yu, if you trick me, I'll go on a hunger strike." Little Roar thought for a long time before coming up with this threat. Sima Yue laughed even more happily. "All right, if you want to go on a hunger strike, I'll support you with both hands. Anyway, you're already so fat." Shimin Feng, who was at the side, laughed out loud. Using hunger strike to threaten his sister. How did he think of this? Little Roar looked at her with teary eyes and complained. You're bullying me." "You wanted to say it yourself, I didn't force you," Sima Yue said innocently. I don't care. You're bullying me," Little Roar cried. "All right, I haven't even said anything yet, and you already have such a big reaction," Sima Yue said. "Looking at you, I can tell that you're up to no good, Little Roar said. Sima Yue pursed her lips. This brat, did he need to know her so well? Actually, it's nothing big. I just want you to contribute a bowl of blood. She smiled as she said. Little Roar's four limbs retracted and his entire body turned into a round ball. He looked as if he had not wronged her and roared. Look. Look. I told you you're definitely up to no good. You actually want to take my blood. You're too bad. Sima Yue was getting a headache from its crying. She shouted. If you cry again, I won't give you anything to eat for a month. Little Roar was stunned by her roar. When he thought about how she wanted him to bleed but did not allow him to howl, he felt so wrong that he wanted to cry out loud again. If you behave, I'll cook for you, Sima Yue added. Little Roar's anguished wail was immediately suppressed. Then, he used an extremely aggrieved voice to say, Only for me. It's going to take a month. Half a month. Sima Yue said. Or not even a day. Little Roar stared, and stared again. Seeing that Sima Yue was no longer attracted by his cute gaze, he had no choice but to agree. He reluctantly said, All right then, half a month it is. Don't go back on your word. When did I go back on my word? It's just that we haven't talked about it for half a month. We'll count them separately, Sima Yue said unscrupulously. You're so treacherous. Little Roar protested. Or you don't want even a day. When Sima Yue said that, Little Roar still compromised. However, his little eyes were filled with grievance. Cough cough. Foam Kai pretended to cough, interrupting the man and beast's threats. Young Master Sima, what are you doing? You guys can just call me Yue. Sima Yue was not used to people calling her young master. She said, Shichen's condition is much worse than expected. Normal medicine won't be of much use to him anymore. We have to control the cold air in his body in order to carry out further treatment. Now, only the blood of an auspicious beast can be both hot and gentle. So aren't I making blood? It's an auspicious beast?Nie and the rest looked at Little Roar with their mouths wide open. Their eyes filled with suspicion. Was there such an auspicious beast? What's wrong? What's wrong? Can't I be an auspicious beast? Little Roar roared at them unhappily. If you guys think that I'm not an auspicious beast, then I won't donate blood. No, of course you're an auspicious beast.Nie quickly smiled apologetically. If they angered this guy and he really didn't donate blood, then they would cry to death. Sima Yue took out a big bowl and said, All right, let the blood out. Little Roar looked at the big bowl Sima Yue placed on the table, and his eyes widened. You're taking out such a big bowl. This isn't for blood, it's for me, right? He protested. Don't talk so much nonsense. Sima Yue grabbed him and hung him above the big bowl. Is this really for letting blood out? Could it be that you took the wrong bowl? Little Roar still didn't believe her. Didn't she take the wrong bowl the last time she let Tuobahan's blood out? Could it be that she took the wrong bowl this time too? That's right, hurry up and let it out. If you continue to blabber, I'll teach you a lesson. Sima Yue threatened. You only know how to threaten me. Little Roar glared at her, feeling wronged, but he still obediently cut open his claws and let the blood flow into the big bowl. Nie and the rest saw that his blood kept flowing out, and the volume soon exceeded his size. They didn't know if he would drown if they let him down. Is it still not enough? If you let me out again, I won't have any more blood. After half a bowl, Little Roar looked pitifully at Sima Yue. Shichun and the rest couldn't bear to see him like this. It's not enough, continue. Fill it up. Sima Yue was unmoved and said. Others didn't know. But she knew that this little bit of blood was nothing to Little Roar. She wouldn't be fooled by his eyes. Little Roar sighed and continued to let out blood. After filling the bowl completely, Sima Yue stopped him and threw him into Shimin Feng's arms. Smelly you don't want me anymore after letting me out. Little Roar said in Shimin Feng's arms. I'll make it up to you later. Sima Yue said and took out a measuring cup. She scooped a cup and handed it to Shichun, saying, Drink it. Shichun took the measuring cup and drank the blood in a few mouthfuls. Once the blood entered his stomach, a warm current spread from his stomach to his limbs and bones. His cold body instantly felt much more comfortable. Drink another cup. Sima Yue took the measuring cup and gave him half a cup. Shurchen drank it again, and felt much more comfortable. That comfortable feeling made him feel that if he drank a little more, the cold in his body would be completely dispelled. You're thinking too much. Sima Yue seemed to know what he was thinking and said, with your condition, drinking the blood of an auspicious beast won't solve the problem. Even if you drink my little roar into a mummy, you'll still be like this. She took out a few jade bottles and used the measuring cup to measure the blood and poured it in. You should drink 1 bottle a day. If you drink too much, it'll be a waste. She pushed the jade bottle over and kept the remaining half a bowl of blood. Little Roar glared at her. He only wanted half a bowl, but she actually let him drink an entire bowl. Too sad. Sima Yue glared back. There's still some use later. Do you want to be let out twice? So it's not a waste. Little Roar shrunk his body. Alright, then it'll be a waste. He won't be calculative. Sima Yue turned her gaze to Fengji and said, what do you think of my previous suggestion? Actively cooperate with the fight against obscene and pornographic information on the internet. Readers, please report. Thank you everyone. You're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.